Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Here we go.
Hey.
Here we go.
You know what?
We don't know if our quarterback's going to be ready.
Wait, before we dive into that, I need to let the world know that I am the biggest Adam the Bull supporter this week.
Why?
Really?
Because he is going up against nobody other than Jay Crawford in fantasy.
Oh, yeah, you need
And
me
I
to
need
lose,
fantasy
don't you?
to- I need
Hey,
Jay to lose.
I didn't look
bad.
at the standings yet.
Oh, my
Where am I?
gosh.
Where am I?
They got them put in first place.
You know
tied
what?
with G.
I
Bush.
looked at it this morning and I almost threw up. when I
Yeah,
seen
it
where
makes
they
you
were.
sick, doesn't it?
It does.
The Yacht Boys, I believe, on points.
Man, I want him to
4.
lose. Bad. Please let Jay lose this week.
I think
where we are.
I think they tied for first.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Well, we ain't tied for first.
I see your little. Listen, your
We
little
loaning
points.
first.
Man, hold on. Hold on. What they got your little points?
But
here?
we all three of us got the same record, though, so it doesn't really matter.
Yacht boys out in front.
You know what?
We all have the
791
same record.
points.
We're all
Okay.
4.
And I just lost one of my key players, Devin A-Chain, who's been phenomenal.
You know what? I talked to my physical therapist this morning. You know what he
Yeah.
said? Is Bull still crying about losing one of his players?
Well, if Baker Mayfield could whine about a non-throwing shoulder for 2 years, I should be able to whine about A-Chain getting hurt.
By the way, Baker's not still
Has
whining about his
anybody
shoulder.
whined more about that injury
He's
than
not
him?
whining about his shoulder.
Never hear
right now.
quarterbacks talking about their injuries.
Anytime somebody asks him about Cleveland, he always talks about their show.
Always
You
brings
can't
it up.
ignore it.
I mean,
Why?
you can't.
Everybody's hurt.
Well,
Everybody's hurt. The NFL.
to be fair, Pat McAfee did say, the way he worded the question was like, you got screwed out of Cleveland.
Yeah,
Something
and
that.
you know what happened. But look, it's a significant injury. I think the most light that I've had shed on that injury was Tony Romo's discussion about it. Because he had the same thing, non-throwing shoulder. He said, let me tell you something. If anybody for a second thinks you're throwing the football pain-free, even though it's your other shoulder, they've never thrown a football with power.
And you know what's
And that's
interesting?
a fact.
He was probably the only player in the league that year that was playing through pain.
I think he
Probably
was.
the
I
only
checked.
guy.
No, I checked.
Nobody else playing
He was
through
the
pain.
only one I checked.
Nobody else.
I love that Bull's now going to other things, not to play.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
got to go to other things.
Well,
I heard he tipped someone 10%.
I'll give you the play. Who has turned the ball over more than any quarterback since he came in the league?
Josh
I don't
Allen.
know.
Nobody. He's number one.
Oh.
Most turnovers.
Even now,
total.
going into this year, I know that was the case.
Yeah, because
Have you checked this morning?
no.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure he's still number one because Jared Goff played great this year too. Goff was the only
Save
guy
your
close.
Baker bashing for later. I think we're talking about. We're not talking about
No,
Baker,
no,
but
no,
you'll
we're not
find a
talking
way
about
to weave it in
We'll
somewhere.
get. Hey, listen.
busy day.
You brought it up on air.
I
by the
did
way.
not bring it
on
up.
air. You did. I brought it up off air. What I said was off air.
Wait, I didn't hear what
Well,
you
you
said.
alluded to my thing with the PT.
You brought the PT thing up.
But
He
I brought it up on air.
He
Off
brought
air.
that up. Who brought up the?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
You
matter.
brought it up on air. You're to blame.
By saying what?
101
Doesn't matter.
101.5.
Doesn't matter. By the way, guess what I'm doing
Allegedly.
today?
Allegedly.
Guess
All
what?
I heard was him saying his PT said that his
That was all-
said
that was
off air.
off air.
It was off air.
I didn't bring that up. I didn't hear it off air.
You said the PT thing. You were the one who said my PT guy says Adam the Bull should stop complaining about his
You
injury.
did say
That was
that.
after you said your
I
comment.
know, but mine was off air. Yours was on air.
Was his
That's
off
true.
the air?
That's
Yes,
true.
yes.
That
Okay.
is true.
I don't even remember.
It's irrelevant.
What I love is, like I said, when you can't bang on his play this year, you got to find something, and you will.
Hey,
You never let us down.
don't worry. I'll be able to bang on his play. Anytime he plays a good team, he'll choke because he always does. You know.
All right, quickly before we get to McNuggets for the first hello of the day, preview of the Niners.
Don't do that.
I don't know that I've been more worried about an opponent in the last 5 years.
Man.
Leroy's here. Mary Kay is here. Whatever insight, whatever knowledge there is on the Baker injury, she has it.
Yeah.
So she's going to share that
You
with us.
mean Watson injury?
Yeah, Watson.
What'd I say?
Watson said Baker.
Yeah.
You got Baker on the brain.
brain now.
Man.
By the way, G. Bush will appreciate this. You know what I'm going to do today, G. Bush?
He's messed
I'm
up.
getting a pedicure. What do you think of that?
No, you're not.
I am.
Are you going with your wife?
No.
You going
Why?
by-
You want to go?
Explain
kidding.
why.
Because I just want a little cleanup there.
That's nothing wrong. Look at this.
That's it.
The Fred Flintstones need that work.
I gotta clean it up,
Hey,
baby.
Fred
It's
used to get a
nothing wrong
manicure
with
and
it.
pedicure all the
I-
time.
Have you gotten a pedicure?
Yeah, I personally never
Have you
went
gotten a
by
pedicure?
myself.
Nah, man,
I always go
I
with
thought
my
you would
wife.
appreciate it. You're a man of culture and taste, G.
Man,
Bush.
nah, I'm not going up in there like that.
I'll go if my wife.
I
Every
did
now
it
and
one
again,
time.
I go with my wife.
My wife,
awesome.
my wife and daughter dragged me.
Oh, God.
And-
Don't be so
and-
insecure in your
and-
sexuality.
It had nothing to do
Ain't
with
nothing
my
wrong with
masculinity.
that.
A lot of
sexuality.
insecurity
How is
here.
a pedicure-
Lot of insecurity.
How in the hell does a pedicure have anything to do with sexuality unless that's your thing, boy? And now I know why you're
Oh,
going.
you telling them to
Rub my feet, honey.
Oh, yeah.
Bull's foot be up here doing
Oh, man. I'm so uptight, baby. She's going to rub my feet. It's going to be beautiful.
Hey, you know
nothing
what he's
wrong
doing
with a little
tomorrow?
massage.
You know what he's doing tomorrow?
this. Nope.
Another pedicure.
No, for massage. massage.
Y'all need to cut this out.
It's only two a week. Don't you be going there a third time.
You know what?
Oh, it's gonna be
It
beautiful.
felt so good that I had to come back and do it again.
You guys remember Bowen for the Spurs, San Antonio Spurs?
Yeah,
Oh, Bruce Bowen.
Yeah.
Bruce's wife, now ex-wife, owned whatever those are called.
A nail salon?
Spa.
Yeah.
There was a fancy name,
Oh.
a French name that he always used to use for it.
Excuse
he
me.
would get his nails done, and Tim Legler and I used to make so much fun of his nails because, first of all, his hands were huge,
Yeah.
but his nails were reflective, and we would always say, Bruce, you got to turn down that
Damn.
gloss on your fingernail. They were never anything
I have
but a
never done
perfect
the
What,
manicure.
he clear coated it?
clear coat.
Yeah,
but
I
don't-
it was shiny clear coat.
I have never done the manicure. I'm not going
I've never
for
done
that.
that.
I got my stuff
You did
cleaned
that?
up.
You got a manicure?
I
It's
got
good, man.
I
I
got
do
it
my
cleaned
own.
up.
The
I
pedicure
clip
feels
it.
awesome. The pedicure feels awesome.
All right. Enough about Bull's foot fetish.
Oh, man. If I had a foot fetish, I would be the one rubbing feet.
That's true.
Is that how it works?
That
No.
is-
I don't know.
I'm
You
having
tell
my
me,
feet
Bull.
rubbed.
I don't know. How does it work when you have a
They
foot
rub.
fetish?
If you have a foot
got a
fetish,
fetish.
Because I don't know.
you like other people's feet. Well,
Oh.
it's pretty obvious,
Oh,
Jay.
okay.
I mean, you don't need to be an expert
No,
on
I
it.
would imagine there are people that love having their feet touched.
Everybody like
Sure.
That could be
like
a fetish.
There ain't
Yeah,
nothing
all
wrong
right,
with a
fair
good
enough.
rub.
All right. Enough of this. I'm getting sick
Who
of
thought
this
we'd go
stomach.
down
In
this
a
road?
million years, I did not see today's show starting with Bull's feet and
I didn't either.
foot fetishes. But if Bull ever does have an issue with his feet that
Yeah.
needs emergency
might.
antibiotics, you know where Bull can go to get those emergency life-saving
Yes,
antibiotics?
Jace Medical.
Jace Medical.
Let's go,
use promo
Jace.
code locked on at jasemedical.com. They may have some tough actin, tenactin, some athlete's foot antibiotics. I don't know what they have, to
Yeah,
be
you
honest,
could.
but if you do need
got it
life-saving antibiotics for your feet, for Bull's feet, for your
Yeah.
loved one's feet, or for anything else that
Rex
they
Ryan's
may need,
feet.
make sure you head over to jasemedical.com.
Now, he's got a foot fetish.
He does. Do you guys remember the week the Patriots were getting ready to play the Jets? And
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I think it was
Lord.
Edelman.
Yeah.
Because Belichick had a strict rule.
Yeah.
No one from the other team's name comes out of anyone's mouth.
Yeah.
But so Edelman decided the workaround to that was going to be every single answer he had, he worked in foot in the answer somehow and would pause and kind of look at the camera. He got in trouble for that. Okay. Wow. I'm excited about today. So Mikey yesterday, you know what? We said yesterday, can anybody say that they would rather have Brock Purdy over Deshaun Watson? Mm-hmm. And I gave it some thought, and I just said, I'm not there. I'm not there
Yeah.
yet. I haven't seen enough of Brock Purdy, and I haven't seen enough of new Deshaun that makes me forget about old Deshaun. So I said, I'm just not there. If you include the pay, it's easy. I'll take Brock Purdy. What is he
Right.
making this year? $45 million?
800,000.
No,
Oh, you're talking about-
Brock Purdy's making 890,000.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson's making $45 million.
Oh,
By the way, the Niners should give Purdy a raise at the end of this year.
You think they can do that?
Why would they do that?
They should.
Why would they
Good
do that?
faith. Good faith.
Why would they do
I'd
that?
sign him to an extension.
Good
For
faith.
what?
Since
if
when
he
have the
plays well all
NFL
season
been
this
off
year.
of good faith?
How
And
many,
how
years
many
has he
times
played?
have players
Two.
left teams when they can?
He has two.
Why would they
He has
do
2
that?
years.
This
he
is
has two
more than
left.
890?
Their Super Bowl window is
Oh,
huge
yeah.
right now because
They're not gonna do it.
Look,
their
look
quarterback.
Bull's
I
not
know
saying
that.
give him $30 million.
No.
Do you know what another
You know-
890,000 does for this man? It doubles his paycheck.
Guess what he gets? See, this is what you don't know. Guess what he gets in March? he gets this thing called player performance check, where the lower you get drafted, so how player
Yeah, but it's not that much, is it?
how player performance
Will it be a
works-
salary?
Yeah, it can be. It's a pretty nice.
Yeah.
I've seen
I know
guys.
what Bull's
get-
saying. First of all, I don't know if the
they're not gonna
NFLPA
do
is
it,
allowed.
but I'm
I
sure
don't
they're
know if
not
they're
gonna do
allowed
that.
to do that because that could be considered like circumventing the salary cap.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
He can't open his
If I
contract
were a team, I would do
negotiations.
things like
I
that.
know what you're saying,
It
Bull, and
develops
I agree.
goodwill with the team.
I
think.
agree, absolutely. I mean,
I would do that with all guys that
you're
overperform their contract.
paying him league minimum or minimum for that slot because you
once
can
he
get away
get
with
his
it.
once he get his PP check, it'd probably be like 250 to 300,000.
Okay, so
By the
that's
way-
still $44 million less than Deshaun Watson makes.
By the way,
Deshaun Watson played what year is this for him in the league? He's
It's all about what you're doing right now, baby.
No.
Yeah,
He got paid for what he did.
That's true.
That's what's wrong
No,
with
but he
pro
also-
sports in general.
Who doesn't get paid
No,
for
you're
what
right.
he
I
did?
get it,
Except for
but-
David Njoku.
he also got paid for what they expected him to do. Also,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because
know.
he's getting a lot more than he was making when he was balling out in Houston.
Well, if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm just gonna sit back and chill and hopefully
Well,
go to
we're
a
getting
Super
off-
Bowl.
we're getting
I got us
topic.
off track with that.
Yeah,
We're
but
getting
you
off
did.
topic. So the question was Purdy or Watson, and really nobody here was jumping at the Purdy
Yeah.
thing.
It's a loaded question.
I was the closest one to taking the bait, but Mike said, I got this.
he believes it. But I wanted to do this on the way in. I called one of my good friends who is a neutral fan because he's a Giants fan.
Yeah,
right?
that's the best
So he
way to
has
do
no
it.
dog
So
in
is
the
Mike.
fight. And I was like, all right, but Mike's invested in the Browns.
got
He's
it.
a Giants
I
fan.
actually
That's
got
a good
I'm
So I
actually
said,
on both sides.
who's my friend that knows the most about football?
Yeah.
So I called my friend Ed. I said, I said, forget the money, forget the off the field stuff.
Yeah.
Who would you rather have as your quarterback going forward? He said, now again, he might be prisoner of the moment, but he's of all my friends, I'd say he's the smartest football fan, and he's
Right.
not a fan of either team.
Right.
He said, not even a question, I would take Brock Purdy. That's what he said.
Interesting.
That's his opinion.
It's a
Right.
load.
It's one person.
I was tempted
I
to
was
go
curious.
that route. Like I said, the
Yeah.
money, I can't not think about it. But if the money is equal, it's an easy question.
I need to know.
It's an easy question.
I need to know what he means. So he's saying career move. He said from today moving forward. Okay, that's fine.
Well, explain it, Mike.
Yeah, so we were going to do this in two ways today. For this game and moving forward, but in our post-show discussion yesterday, we decided to go big picture.
Right.
Now, I taped, and you'll see why in a sec, a segment this morning making the case for Brock Purdy. It's a little too long to play in full, so I broke it into 4 parts. So what we're going to do is we're going to play each part. We can react to it after. You can ask questions. I have all the information. But each part's about 2.5 minutes, and then we'll react. So
Okay.
you guys ready to hear the first part?
Let it
Yeah.
rip.
Steve?
The case for Brock Purdy.
Finally, some peace and quiet, guys. Anytime I try to present you with information, a deep dive, some analytical numbers, I can't get through 2 sentences without Bull interrupting me. So guess what I did? I took
I'm
Bull,
offended
G,
by that.
J, and Tyvus out of the equation so I could tell you what I have to say, and then I'll let you decide for yourselves whether or not you take Brock Purdy or Deshaun Watson long term. So in the sake of pure transparency, guys on the panel, not me, you, check your phones. I just sent you all the notes and numbers so you can follow along as we go through what we have to get to. The question today is Brock Purdy, Deshaun Watson. Who would you rather have long-term moving forward? And let's start with the obvious. If we're talking about ceilings, Deshaun Watson's ceiling is significantly higher than Brock Purdy's. I'm not quite sure that Brock Purdy can ever lead a team or play at the elite level that Deshaun Watson did in 2020. What Watson did in 2020 was absurd. He carried the Texans offensively despite the fact they didn't have a tremendous record. They were just 4-12. And I don't think at the end of the day that Purdy can ever do that. He will never be the quarterback to carry an offense on his shoulders by himself. I also think it's pretty obvious that he's in a much better situation than Deshaun Watson is at the moment. Purdy went into San Francisco, a team with a great head coach, a good offensive line, a running back in Christian McCaffrey who is as multifaceted and versatile as any in the league. They have weapons. And did I say they have Kyle Shanahan as opposed to Deshaun Watson, who is, he's stuck with David Bell and Cedric Tillman if he ever gets on the field. However, I'm not just going to give Deshaun Watson a pass because, as he said in his own words, there are no excuses this season. Back in August, after the preseason game against the Commanders, Watson said, and I quote, "I'm not thinking about no rust. That was last year. I missed ball. I played in 6 games last year and had a full offseason. So I'm not thinking about no rust. I'm not using no excuses for no rust or anything like that. So if Deshaun Watson isn't going to use excuses for himself, then I'm not going to give him a pass either. And I'm also not going to hold it against Brock Purdy for where he was drafted. That's just circumstantial. It is what it is. We can't change that. The Niners drafted Purdy, and it's worked so far.
That was nice.
That's just the intro.
That was just part one.
Yeah.
As I'm watching this, I'm thinking, so if this was a court of law, what Mikey's done is he's told the judge that the prosecution cannot object. Right?
Yeah,
it was
essentially.
uninterruptible.
No,
and I think the beauty of our show is, and Mike and I talked about this morning, the beauty of our show is, and why a lot of these formats work, is because they're free-flowing, organic conversations where when someone sees a point, it's usually bull or I, but you guys can do it too, and you have. When you see a point that's interruptible, you jump in.
Yeah.
So now we have to remember all of what he just said, which is probably about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's his opening statement. If this were a trial,
exactly,
that was his opening statement. He's about to put some evidence out there for our ingestation. Yeah. What do you make of what he just said?
Go ahead, Tyvus.
I have nothing against nothing he said. All he did,
I don't either.
He stated all facts, and I agree with everything he said.
Completely benign so far.
I think the one thing that he mentioned at the end that is the most important is we all agreed, all of us, every single person on this show agreed there were no excuses this year for anybody. No matter what happens, Deshaun Watson will be back. We know that.
He has to be.
But he gets no pass from me if he does not have a good season. Now, I think he's going to have a good season. I still believe that. But if I'm wrong, if he has a bad season, I give him no excuses. Now, what does that mean? It really means nothing because he's going to be here. But Stefanski gets no pass. Berry, I don't care who gets hurt. Every team has injuries.
You're right.
I don't want to hear about nothing. If the Browns don't make the playoffs, and I think we all agreed on this, or at the very least, we all agreed that if the Browns are in the playoff hunt legitimately, if they're not, then Stefanski goes, Berry goes. And for Watson, it's just like, well, it's hard to believe in you now. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But Berry and Stefanski, they're gone if this team doesn't make the playoffs.
No, it's just
gone.
It's called next man up. Like, look, bro.
That's what everybody's dealing with injuries in the NFL.
And I'm talking about the next man up on the succession program. The succession plan is, look, this year has been a referendum, and it's always been a referendum on Kevin Stefanski.
See, I think it's Kevin Stefanski and Watson and Berry, all three of them.
Well, no, because
Watson's not going to get a pass if it's a bad season. But we can't do anything with him.
So his referendum comes next year. If he does not play well this year, he does not play well next year, or at the start of next year with a new coach, people around the league will be like,
you're going to grade Watson on a curve because if he fails, it's because of the head coach, not because of him.
Well, I'm not going to say it's not all on him, but what I'm saying is the brunt of the failure always goes to the next regime. When Baker took the L, it was some on Stefanski because people talked about why is he playing them and is he putting him in the best position. So guess what? Baker ultimately went. Stefanski had the next ride. Guess what? This year is all Stefanski and Berry. If you don't get it done, they're out of here. Now guess what? A new coach comes in. If Deshaun Watson is still here, of course he didn't play that well. But you can't get rid of him.
Well, he'll be here.
Yeah,
he'll be here. He's untradeable, and you're not going to cut him.
I think the difference is going into next year, if he plays poorly for most of the season, there's no way you're going to have a lot of faith in him.
No. He'll have to prove it all.
Yeah, right. But in terms of a referendum, I agree with you on that because there's nothing you can do with him. You are chained to him for the remainder of this contract.
Sounds like the Broncos.
A lot like the Russell, but I think our contract
at least till the final year. I mean, maybe the final year, if it was that bad.
But his cap hit, according to Jason, in the final year is like $80 million or something.
But the thing is, the reality is that if Deshaun Watson has a bad season, somewhere, whoever's the new GM has got to be thinking about a future quarterback.
Let's be clear.
Yeah,
let's be clear about it. I mean, how many games are we in the season?
We're at the quarter pole.
So he's 4. This game will be a 5th game of the season. I mean, he's going to have to play out of his mind. Not out of his mind, but he has to play very well.
No, listen, if he gives us more Tennessee Titans performances than what we saw in the first 3, That's a success.
Yeah, that's what we need right there.
But I need more of those than what we saw in the first 6, 7,
But I'm
8
not
games.
a fan of like all of that because. Hold on. First of all, if he plays this week, I would love to see him play. If he doesn't, I understand why. Trust me, I get it. But I would like to see him play this week because I'm not about to grade this man off of what he do against the sorry Tennessee
I'm not
Titans. We got him and paid him because we want to see him
elite.
perform against.
So I need
the
to see him perform against elite.
So
that was my criticism always of Baker.
I'm not
about
about to sit here and say you bad because you did something
no,
against
100%.
Tennessee. If you did it against the 49ers,
So where are
I
you?
think everybody in the world will be like, oh my goodness.
Yo, that'll open a lot of eyes.
100%.
Yes.
If Watson plays well this week, especially dealing with an injury and plays well, and they beat the Niners,
that's eye-opening.
Even if they somehow lost a wild shootout to the Niners, as unlikely as that might sound.
As long as he's not to blame. If he doesn't throw a late pick, if the defense gives up a late touchdown and we lose a shootout, that's no fault of Watson.
That would be the biggest win to me. That would be almost a bigger win than the Pittsburgh win.
To me, playoffs.
If we
is
lost,
playoffs.
If Kevin Stefanski pulls this together, they come in and the 49ers are looking like they are the NFC champs already, and you beat them.
Well,
after Deshaun Watson been out with injuries and stuff, that's the signature win. That's one of the biggest wins that I've seen in Cleveland in ever. They showed the throwback of when the 49ers came into Cleveland and was playing the Browns.
The only reason the Steelers win's bigger because it's a playoffs, but in terms of the quality of opponent, it would be the best
win I've ever seen them get.
I think everybody would agree with
Although
that. You better roll part two
Bengals
because we're running out of time.
This is a team that was really good.
This is why I was going to run 11 minutes straight. So
go ahead.
You wanted a hostile takeover.
Part two are some of the basic stats comparing Purdy versus Watson.
All right.
Steve, you can take it. So with that out of the way, let's get to the facts. If Brock Purdy was named Patrick Mahomes and had been doing exactly what he's done so far this season, he'd be the front runner for MVP. Through 5 games, through week 5 in the NFL, Purdy is first in the NFL in QBR, first in quarterback rating, second in yards per attempt, second in completion percentage, 7th in touchdown passes, and 8th in passing yards, all while San Francisco has a top 5 running attack in the NFL. If you take the name off the resume, those stats on your screen are the front runner for MVP. But because he's Brock Purdy, because he's Mr. Irrelevant, we all have had to take a deep breath and say, well, is it because Purdy's good or is it because he's in the perfect system? And the answer is it's probably a little bit of both. But let's dive into some of the basic numbers. It's really interesting because Deshaun Watson made his first start for the Cleveland Browns on December 4th, 2022 against the Houston Texans. On that exact same day, Jimmy G got hurt against Miami, and Brock Purdy played 2.5, almost 3 full quarters against the Dolphins. So they've essentially been in their system since the exact same day. Now, Purdy has played 2 more games. Watson missed week 4 against Baltimore in the bye week, so it's 11 games in this comparison as opposed to 9. But let's look at these basic numbers. Since the exact same calendar day, December 12th, 2022, Purdy is 11-0. Deshaun Watson is 5-4. Let's look at the touchdown passes. Watson's thrown 11. Purdy's thrown 22. And you may ask, and Bull, I know he's going to ask, well, what's the context? How many? Bull, I got you, buddy. Calm down. 22 is the second most in the NFL since December 4th of 2022. Behind only Kirk Cousins. He is tied with Patrick Mahomes for the second most touchdown passes, in the NFL since December 4th of 2022. That's more than Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow. He's also just the 10th quarterback in NFL history to throw for 20 or more touchdowns in his first 10 career starts, and he is the fewest interceptions of any of those guys. So what he's done through the first 10 starts of his career is not just impressive, it's historically good. All right, let's get back to the basic stats here. Interceptions, Watson 7, Purdy 3. The fewest interceptions of any quarterback with 200-plus passing attempts in that span. So he's thrown the second most touchdown passes and the fewest interceptions since he made his debut on December 4th, 2022. Completion percentage, Watson just under 61%, Purdy just over 69%. And quarterback rating, which is a flawed stat, but still a little context. Watson 82.2, Purdy 114.4. Here's a little context on that QB rating, by the way. Watson's average in his 9 games in Cleveland, an 82.2. Purdy's lowest quarterback rating in any of his 11 regular season games, a 95.4. That is 12 points higher. His lowest single game QB rating is 12 points higher than Watson's average. He also has 8 games of the 11 with a QB rating of 100 or more. Watson in 9 games has just 2. We don't really care about rushing stats. It's kind of irrelevant, but Purdy has 3, Watson has 2. He also has the advantage in that.
By the way, Mike did start that by saying, here's a fact, and then he did not give a fact. He gave an opinion. For the record, Mike.
If that's my one mistake in that 3-minute clip, then I apologize.
That was a good clip. All your stats are on point.
They're all good.
I mean, what can
Can't
you
refute
say?
them.
There's no – the debate is what we're expecting to happen going forward.
That's it.
There's no debate as to who's been the better quarterback since they both took the field last year. Is there?
No.
No, it's cut and dry.
I mean,
then both.
obviously Purdy has
Now,
advantages.
one thing that we're not taking into account, and those stats cannot, and we know that this is the elephant in the room, Brock Purdy has significantly more weapons.
Well, let's skip then the advanced stats. If you guys want to see it, we'll post it on YouTube. Let's go to the conclusion for time purposes. Let's skip advanced stats, go right to the conclusion. There's not a single metric since these two quarterbacks took the field on December 4th, 2022, that indicates Deshaun is better than Brock Purdy. There's not. And you could say, well, yeah, but Deshaun just played his best game of his Browns tenure against Tennessee. 2 touchdowns, 289 yards. Yeah, he did. And I hope we see more of that. But that was 2 touchdowns, 289 against a bad secondary. Purdy on Sunday Night Football just threw for 4 touchdowns against a top 5 rated secondary. A couple other things to consider. Well, Deshaun has had a full offseason with his receivers, with his coaching staff, with this roster to accumulate. Purdy didn't throw a pass till the second preseason week because he tore his UCL and had to get Tommy John surgery after losing to the Eagles in the NFC Championship last season. And most importantly, how about results? Because this is what really matters. Since taking over the starting job, December 4th of last season, essentially when Jimmy G went out, Purdy's played in 11 games. The 49ers have scored 30 or more points in 10 of those 11 games, including 8 straight. The one they didn't, they had 21 points. Deshaun Watson has not led the Browns to a 30-point performance. Is it his fault? Certainly not all of it. Is it Purdy's reason they scoring 30 every week? No. Kyle Shanahan offenses are always good. But what makes Purdy special is the level he's taken this offense to in 2023. Let's go back to the years of some of Shanahan's offenses. This season, they're averaging 33.4 points per game. Last season with Brock Purdy, 33.5 points per game. The year before, in 2021, 24 points. 2020, 23.5 points per game. And the year they made the Super Bowl in 2019, they averaged 29.6. This is the most prolific we have ever seen a Kyle Shanahan offense. And that's partly due to the weapons they have, the scheme, and the fact that Brock Purdy is playing flawless football right now. Listen, the ceiling for Purdy is not as high as Deshaun Watson's. I cannot argue that. If you switch them, yeah, Watson on San Francisco would probably be deadly, and I don't think Purdy's as good in Cleveland as he's in San Francisco. But what Purdy does better than any quarterback in football right now is he doesn't make mistakes, he gets the ball out on time, and he's an elite processor. I think there's a 60% chance Deshaun Watson gets back to the elite, top tier, top 3, top 4 level quarterback we saw him be in 2020 with Houston. I give it a 60% chance. I think there's a 90% chance this is the floor of Brock Purdy. He's getting better from last year. He's gotten better from last year to this year. He's gotten better this season week to week. There's another level to Brock Purdy despite the fact he may never have the unbelievable arm strength that some of the top-tier quarterbacks in football have. However, if you're telling me long-term I get this level of Brock Purdy, the perfect point guard, the Greg Maddux of the NFL right now, I'm taking that and running to the bank because I can put a good team around Brock Purdy and maximize my playmakers' skill sets based on what Brock Purdy does best. I'm taking a 90% chance of Purdy being this good and better over a 60% chance of Deshaun Watson returning to his 2020 form. So with that, if I had to choose one or the other long term, I'm sorry, Cleveland, but I'm rocking with Brock Purdy.
You're dead to Cleveland. Do not go outside.
Yeah. Well,
Do not
Tyvus
show your face in public. You're dead.
Tyvus agrees with
Tyvus
me.
was most worked up about this, right?
Well,
Go ahead.
the only thing that I agree with, first of all, shout out to Brock Purdy. It's Brocktober.
Nice job, Mike.
Yeah,
by the way.
it was a great
Good work
presentation.
there.
But the only thing that if Brock Purdy stays with Kyle Shanahan, yes, he'll probably be better. But if he doesn't, that's not going. It's over. Like Kyle Shanahan makes.
So if
all
he goes
his
to Carolina tomorrow, what happens in Carolina?
They're not going to be. They might win a couple games. Like they don't have weapons
At all.
They don't have. Kyle Shanahan is literally probably one of the smartest offensive coaches I've ever seen in my life. So of course he's not going to put his quarterback in situations to make bad plays. I mean, Jimmy G has a 70% career winning percentage.
I mean,
playing
Yeah,
with
but
them.
come on.
What are we
Thomas,
talking
in
about?
fairness, Brock Purdy's playing better than
hold on.
Jimmy
That's
G ever
fine.
played.
No, let's be
He's
clear.
better than Jimmy
Yeah,
G.
but Jimmy G has not looked like San Francisco Jimmy G in Las Vegas.
Jimmy G is 19-5.
I don't care about the record.
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
man?
This guy and was in the Super Bowl. and was
what
a
are you
play
talking
away from
about?
winning the Super
I
Bowl.
don't
What
know
are you talking about?
why Mike even went through down there.
Wait
As
a
long
minute.
as Brock
So you're
Purdy
going to
stays,
totally disregard everything Brock Purdy's done? Everything?
Hold on. No, what I'm saying
not
is,
disregarding
I'm not
it at
disregarding.
all.
I say Jimmy G has played in more games. He's made it to a higher level. He has a better record, and you giving him.
Jimmy G, as an I always felt watching the 49ers with Jimmy G that they were winning in spite of him. That he wasn't good, very good, and they were winning in spite of him.
So they got a better team with a less talented quarterback, and they're winning because of him.
Well, I don't know that anybody here would say
No.
he's less talented than
No,
Jimmy G.
well, I think
Brock Purdy's
I
better
think Brock
than Jimmy
Purdy's
G.
a better talent. I'm not saying they're winning because of him, but they're not winning in spite of him.
And our test case, so I said, what would happen if Brock Purdy goes to Carolina? We
Nothing.
basically have that playing out in real time. What are the Raiders with an elite receiver? What are the Raiders with Jimmy G?
2-3.
are they 2-3?
And they did not look good last night. Jimmy G's throwing the ball to the wrong team. He's making the wrong decisions. The reason I bring that up is I think what we're seeing here is a head coach who is so good. He's been able to take kind of a mid-tier guy.
That's why I'm sitting here
in
like
Jimmy G
this is
and
ridiculous.
get him to a Super Bowl.
Like we really disregard. Mike, you totally disregarded the fact that they have probably outside. It's Andy Reid and then probably
he did
Kyle
not.
Shanahan.
I think that's unfair to
Like,
say he
no,
disregarded
because
that.
that-
He mentioned it a few times. You can't just throw away everything Brock Purdy's done. You take it. Obviously, you got to factor in.
Listen,
Let's factor this point right here.
Listen,
Yeah.
I played with the 49ers.
Right.
Okay, Jimmy G was out. Nick Mullins made his first career start when I made my first career start.
Well, he didn't do much. What did he
Nick
do?
Mullins
No,
blew out
Nick-
the Raiders. What are you talking
Played
about?
very well early on.
What do you
them
do after
out.
that? What do you do after that?
He won they went on to win like 3 or 4 games that season.
Let's
So,
look at
Tyvus,
Nick.
how many games do you need to see from Purdy before you believe it's
So no matter what
partially
Purdy
Purdy?
does, you
I
he's-
don't.
he's
I
the
would
guy.
have to see him
Yo,
away from Kyle Shanahan.
like, first of all,
yes.
I would literally have to see him
Because
on
you know what we
another
were
team.
always asking in New England, is it Bill or is it Tom? Is it Bill or is it Tom?
For the rest of the year.
And they settled that argument when Tom went to Tampa Bay and took a team that missed the playoffs the previous year and won a Super Bowl. And what the hell has Bill done since?
For the record, I disagree. Some people, I was never asking that question personally. I never thought it was Bill.
Always said it was Tom.
I mean, maybe not his first year or two, but after that,
Yeah.
it wasn't settled when he went to Tampa.
Look,
To
man.
me, it was long settled before
What he
that.
did was, because we didn't know, we had never seen Tom without Bill. We had seen Bill without Tom.
Yeah,
and
he never
Bill-
had great quarterback play.
He had great defenses and won Super Bowls.
But that has nothing to do with quarterback
We're
play.
not talking
Of course
about
not. But
Tom.
what we're saying is he had great defenses and won Super Bowls.
You look at the San Francisco 49ers. They got arguably the best defense in the league, the defensive player of the year on their team. They got the best left tackle in the league. They got the best running back in the league. They got a top 5 receiver. They got almost the best number 2 receiver. They got the number 1 middle linebacker
They
in the
got
league.
the top 3 tight ends. in the
And guys,
league.
do you know how they do that?
Are you serious?
I don't
but
understand
hold on.
it.
All them number
Gee,
ones.
Do you know how they can do that? Because
they
they
don't
got
have
a
to-
quarterback
that's
making
cheap.
1/40th
Yeah.
of what the Browns
By the way,
quarterback
Nick
makes.
Mullins lost 11 of 16 games as a starter with San Francisco. He threw about the same amount of
I
touchdowns.
said he
and
won
picks.
4 games that year. You said
He never won 4 games in a year. What year are you talking about?
He didn't win 4 games that year.
18
What year
or
was
20?
that? 18.
Now
Was
we
that
bouncing.
18? 18.
We
yeah.
bouncing.
Bring in Leroy.
We
Leroy,
bouncing.
you heard any of
We
this?
He
bouncing.
went 3-5 through 13
Okay,
touchdowns.
so I
10
was
picks.
1 game
We
short.
bouncing and
Sorry.
we down bouncing and Nick Mullins. There's no way in hell Brock Purdy. By the way, if you put Deshaun Watson on that team, they're the best team in the world.
Yes.
We'll bring in
They
Leroy. We'll
put
ask
Purdy on this
Leroy.
team, they win 2-3 games.
I agree with that statement.
Gee, with most quarterbacks, the 49ers are going to be the best team. That's not just Watson. There's 20 quarterbacks you could put with him.
You could put-
What are you saying? Are you saying Birdie's? I'm not saying. First of all, I am on the side of I'd rather take Watson.
Okay.
And you could.
So what are you saying?
And you could argue, but to dismiss his argument
I mean,
as if it's ridiculous.
I didn't dismiss it. That's
Yes,
not what
you
I
did.
said. No, I did not.
You said it was. You're totally dismissing.
I'm not dismissing it at all.
To me, Purdy's not the same as the other quarterbacks in San Francisco. I'm not saying he's elite. I'm saying he's better than the guys they've had.
I'm saying I don't know that because the San Francisco 49ers.
But gee, you always talk about the. Go ahead.
Hold on. The San Francisco 49ers are way better than they were when they had those other quarterbacks.
Outside, listen, they added Christian McCaffrey. They've always had a great defense.
No, they what? No, I was there. What are you talking about?
5 years ago.
What are you talking about?
The last few years.
No, I'm not about to sit here and let you tell that
The
lie.
last few
we
years.
was the
that
worst.
was 5 years ago.
Okay,
The last few years.
17, 18, we was terrible.
Yeah.
19,
When
they
did
went to the
Shanahan get there?
He got there in 17.
Okay, I think
So
for the purposes
19,
of discussion-
they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Since 19, it is now 23.
Yeah.
They have transformed into one of the best, one or two.
Okay, and don't the Browns have one of the best defenses?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But we ain't got none of the other stuff they
I'm
got.
about to say
None of that.
Flip the ball.
Trent Williams, Jed Wills.
So from now on,
McCaffrey,
He need to cut this out.
McCaffrey, Jerome Ford.
so I guess Burrow's not that good because he's got great talent around him.
He's helped by that.
I mean, he got Chase. He
So-
won, I mean, single-handedly, they won the game.
No one does it alone. Mikey, take the read so we can bring Leroy in.
Yeah, real quick, we'll bring Leroy and Leroy entering this hot. If you're in the chat, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It costs you $0.00. Helps us out in the back end. We appreciate you guys more than you know. What's up, Leroy?
Leroy, come in swinging.
What are you guys doing? let me. You
I
want
know
me
it's going to be
here.
good. What?
You want me?
I know it.
You want me to
discussing with
settle
all of
this?
us.
You want me to settle this? I'm gonna give you two running backs. Tell me who's the best. Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders?
Barry Sanders, not close.
Okay.
Barry Sanders.
I agree.
Emmitt Smith has the most yards in this league ever.
He had all the
Okay.
pieces around him.
You have okay. That being said, why do we try to separate the quarterback from the team to make them better or worse than they are? The reason why Brock Purdy is the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers is because he is the best man for that job. Whatever that job is. And you just assume if you take a better quarterback from another team, that guy would be better at it because he's a better quarterback. That's not true.
Aha, Leroy's on my side.
Thank you, Leroy.
No, it's true. What he's saying is
That's not-
absolutely. It's got to be the right fit.
It's got to be the right fit.
Second part.
It's got to be the right fit. Like, just because, like, guess what? If I told you, as a quarterback, who was the better all-around quarterback between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady? Aaron Rodgers does some incredible. Rodgers does some incredible things with a football. Some incredible things, but he doesn't have the success that Tom Brady has.
Facts.
So let's stop comparing these quarterbacks in different situations and make it sound like that guy's better or Kyle Shanahan could do that with him. Can he do it with anybody?
Yeah.
Because he didn't.
Nope.
He didn't.
We went to the Super Bowl twice. We went
Okay.
we went to the Super Bowl with
Matt Ryan.
With Matt Ryan, he went with Jimmy G. Some,
Matt Ryan was in
some guys
Atlanta. He
that's
wasn't
not
the head
really
coach.
people are really high
And
regard.
he choked.
Wait,
he choked in the Super Bowl.
Wait.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan won the MVP. What are you talking about?
Fact.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Matt Ryan was a great quarterback before, or a very good
Was
quarterback.
was he a good
Shanahan.
quarterback, or did he not have the best
But
wide
here's-
receiver in the league?
Here's the thing
With one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the league.
But he was
Here's the
already a
thing
really good
with-
player before
What
Shanahan
are we
got
talking
there.
about?
What are you talking about?
Like, this is
He was
ridiculous.
one of the
I
reasons
think we
Sit
can
down
all
and have
agree
this
that he was
conversation.
his best with Shanahan.
yes, he was his best. there.
Exactly.
Right.
So what are we
Right.
talking about?
I'm not taking away from. Look, we have this discussion down here with Tua, because the way Tua's career started, everybody would suggest that he wasn't the guy. And then Mike McDaniel comes in.
Guess who he studied?
And now he's lighting the world.
Guess who Mike
But the
McDaniels got his
talent
coaching
was
style
always
from?
there.
Who he learned from? Mike McDaniels. Who he learned from?
Right.
No,
But you still have to have from Shanahan.
Okay.
But you still have to have the ability to be able to execute that offense.
So
I'm not taking nothing away.
So let me ask you this, Leroy. If Tua went to the Carolina Panthers, would he still be that good?
I don't think any quarterback would be good with Carolina.
I rest my case.
I don't think any, because look, you could talk about Tom Brady going to Tampa and they weren't even in the playoffs and they won the Super Bowl. But look at all the moves they made to accommodate Tom Brady. Let's not ignore that.
What moves were those?
They went and spent.
They already had the receivers.
I'm done. He
look at all the players they signed.
My point.
When Tom Brady came in, look at all the players they signed.
I don't remember who
to
they
just
signed.
make that team go.
I don't remember who they added.
They revamped the offensive line. And they brought in a couple guys on defense.
They didn't just plug and play Tom Brady. That's the way y'all making it sound.
Well,
y'all making it sound like, okay,
pieces though were there. They didn't have a running game when they won with Brady, and they had Evans and they had Godwin.
They had Corey Dillon one year.
They added Corey Dillon.
But Corey Dillon didn't tear the league up.
I mean, he had a huge year for New England.
The year they won the Super Bowl?
I can't remember. It's so many years
I was brought in. Rodney Harrison was brought in.
I'm talking about no. I'm talking about when he went to Tampa.
Oh,
when he went to Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The year before they missed the playoffs.
They got Fournette.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't. Clearly, the big piece
They had,
was Brady.
but
they had Evans and they had Godwin.
Dude,
They
made a lot of roster. They made a lot of roster moves to accommodate. What I'm saying is that stop making it sound like you can just plug and play a quarterback and that team and because of the coaching or the system,
by the way,
quarterback is going to be good.
No, go ahead.
To back up the stats real quick. In 2014, Corey Dillon's first year. 2004, when Corey Dillon went to New England, his first year in New England, the Patriots won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, we got off track. He was talking about when he went to Tampa Bay.
But Corey Dillon did have over 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. We're talking about when he went to Tampa. Leroy is saying they completely remade the roster.
You said
with
Corey
Brady.
Dillon wasn't a world beater.
No, because I'm thinking of the Buccaneers. I was only thinking about the Buccaneers.
Okay.
I got a question about the Browns, though, Leroy. If Deshaun Watson not playing, what are they doing? Are they gonna get DTR ready, or do you bring in?
I'm gonna tell you what they better do. You better get a game plan to fit the talents of your players.
Yeah.
Don't drop him back and tell him to be Deshaun Watson. Hell, Deshaun Watson just became Deshaun Watson a week ago, and now you want another guy to do
it. He became him again.
Hey, yeah, right.
If you're right about that.
Hey,
that seemed like a long time ago.
We just got the Deshaun Watson that we've been waiting for, and you think another guy gonna come in and do that?
Yeah, not gonna happen.
I think the game plan is gonna be a little different. I think they're gonna do things to accommodate DTR's skill set, which they should do. I think in fairness to Stefanski, it almost seemed like he absolutely thought Deshaun Watson was going to play.
Because he told him he was going to play.
And, man, Friday to Sunday or Thursday to Sunday is a long time with an injury, dude.
Absolutely,
you can make
but he told him Friday
you can make
afternoon.
Okay, and things change. You figure, the way I feel right now from doing nothing, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be ready to go. And then you go out there and start trying to do football stuff, and you're like, no, I ain't going to make it. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say this about injuries. The only thing that I ever wanted to be known as in my career, because I wasn't fast as Eric Metcalf, I didn't have a lot of the skill set that some of the other guys had. But the one thing I did have was I was tough. Mm-hmm. And at any point in time, if somebody challenged that, whether it's a teammate, another team, a coach, a media member, anybody, I took offense to that. So Deshaun Watson doesn't have to worry about the injury. What he has to worry about is what his teammates think of him. right? His coach didn't do him any favors. When I know every coach in the league would stand up for their quarterback and go, look, he's got something going on in there, and we need him healthy for the long run. Simple
and it was an organizational decision not to play.
Right. They put it all on Deshaun Watson. And I'm going to tell you what. Fluid on any joint is very uncomfortable, right? You can get it drained out of a knee. You can get it in a shoulder. But he throws with that damn shoulder. How you going to tell a guy that he's healthy enough to play and he's the only one throwing that football?
Right. No one knows what it feels like but him.
They put him in a terrible spot for, then people coming out saying, oh, players were, upset or kind of frustrated with Deshaun Watson. Why? Injuries are injuries. You can't do nothing about that. But they didn't do him no favors by the comments before and after the game. But he still got to do what he got to do.
Listen,
I don't think anything of it.
His general manager didn't do any favors either.
He said he
When
played.
last Wednesday, he emphatically stated he's going to play against San Francisco. I mean,
Probably
how
should
can
ask
he make that
Deshaun.
same mistake
Hey.
twice?
Right.
And he
So,
may
I
end up
don't know.
playing. We don't know. But yesterday, not practicing,
If he does,
it's not good look.
if he doesn't
no,
play
no.
after they said that last week, that's,
Hey.
I mean,
Well, they lose a lot of credibility, Bull.
yeah.
Don't worry about practice. Okay? These guys get banged up all year, and their job is to get ready for Sunday. Now, whatever you need to do that, you just got to deal with it. I'm more than sure they didn't have Joe Burrow running around on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to get ready for Sunday with his ankle.
And you're right about that, but Leroy, the media, they're not going to tell the media anything now. We know that the one time Stefanski says something, he stepped on a landmine, so they're going to go right back to no transparency, and I don't blame them, by the way. However, if that's the case and you're the media, you have to follow breadcrumbs. And the only breadcrumbs we have was the first day that he could have been back on the field for practice, he wasn't. It doesn't mean he's not going to play, but that's all we have to go on right now.
I'll tell you, I want to say my third year, I hurt my knee in preseason, right? And I was out for a couple of weeks, but it was preseason. We get, to like a week into the season, and I'm now starting to run and do things, and then I'm starting to, like before the game, go out and see if I could go, right? Now, I'm going to tell you something. My fat ass legs was moving going straight ahead. I ain't gonna lie. I look like an Olympic sprinter. Everybody was saying, "Ooh, you look good. You look good." Now make a cut left or right.
Exactly.
So anybody who saw me running would say, "Whew, he looks good. We got him this week."
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
But that last little bit of cutting and stuff like that. So all these injuries where people are saying, "Oh, he looks good," he ain't playing football.
Right.
Leroy, let me ask you this. I know you love running the ball. You don't have Nick Chubb. So far, they have not been able to run effectively without him. Now, have they given enough of a try? Certainly not. We need to see more. However, the Browns have done a better job of pass blocking than run blocking, even though it may not seem that way at times. They have. The Niners, if you look at their defensive, some of the analytics on it, their run defense is 1 or 2 in the league. Their pass defense is good, but not, top 5. So everything points to you need to throw the ball this week to potentially win the game. But I'm guessing you don't see it that way, or do you?
No,
if Watson plays, of course.
You don't play football like that. I don't give a damn what their stats are.
Okay.
You got to do you. You got to try to be you, and then you adjust. If you go out there and pass the ball and not, the pass rusher just won the defensive player of the year, and you want to pass it,
Quick passes, Leroy. We got to get rid of it quick.
Quick pass. So
Let's
you
go.
just go put a skill. You go just put a skill set on a quarterback that might not have it. You just assuming everybody can do those things. There's one thing the Browns know they can do is run the football. So run it. Like,
But
it may not
We
work,
don't
but
know
you got
that
to
without
start.
Nick Chubb.
Leroy, let me ask you a question about this Browns team and as the culture of this team, specifically offensively. Do you think that Kevin Stefanski believes that he has a group of tough guys?
He better, because that has been the theme for the last couple of years, is that you're gonna ride or die with the two offensive
Okay.
defensive line.
I'm glad you said that. So when you look at his choice of play calls, let's just hypothetically speaking say it's 3rd and 1. His choice of play caller, that don't lead you to believe that he questions the toughness of his team?
I think sometimes in football, and we can all attest to this, right? Coaches can't get out of their damn way, right? He like, I know they expecting us to run here, so I'm gonna throw a pass.
Yeah.
That some coaches just have it in their minds that they got to do what the other team don't think they're gonna do, right? But here's the thing: this football space that I lived in was this 3rd and 1. I'm coming in the game. Come get some. We still gonna get it. Talk trash to you and go back to the huddle.
That's where I was
Right.
at too, Leroy.
That plays a big role in how you dominate a game and how you end up surviving tough physical football games. If you go into a tough physical football game, let's keep in mind, is there any team more physical than the 49ers?
No.
I haven't seen one.
Right. So if you go in there trying to avoid that physicality, you gonna get beat up. So you got to go in there and say, you know what, player? We gonna see what kind of physical you are, because we coming right at you. It may not work. You may have to do some adjusting, but you're gonna start off that way and let them know what's up. If you don't, then they're gonna think they got free reign over you. They got a little space. They got free reign in your head because you scared to do what you do best. That's from the coaches, the players, everybody. So what?
Yeah, it's a gladiator
I don't
sport.
care who.
That's why
I
the
don't
Niners
care
are
who the
built for it.
49ers are. Right. Guess what? The analytics said that the Ravens were 4.5 points better than the Steelers. How'd that work out?
Well, it's a bad I mean, that's a good example, but overall, the analytics are right more often than they're wrong. That's
Okay, well, guess what?
Yeah.
Just because a team is number 1 in the run don't mean, oh my goodness, I can't run the football.
Well,
What
nobody's
are you
saying don't
doing?
run the football, but it's going to be hard. Like we don't even know if we have a
How
right
you know
back.
it's gonna be hard?
What's
How
that?
you know you're going predetermining before the game even starts what's gonna work and what's not gonna
I
work.
agree.
That ain't sports. That ain't sports.
That's the problem.
But Leroy, let me ask you this, because
Yeah, go.
I agree with that to a certain extent, but you also have to factor in what a team's DNA is and what your team's DNA is.
I would
like.
argue-
I understand you're saying we're going to bring the fight to them. Well, a lot of great teams have said that, and they get steamrolled in the process.
Okay, but guess what? You have a lesser chance of winning if you play outside of who you are. As simple as that.
Right.
You've been working all year to be a certain type of team.
Yeah, don't change
If
it
you
now.
go to, you gotta tweak it a little bit. Yes, you gotta tweak it. You gotta maybe find different methods of running the football. But if you don't run the football because you're afraid that they're number 1 at rush, you're soft. You're soft in your decision
Not to
making.
mention we don't know if they have a running back.
30 seconds, Leroy. Do you have faith in Kevin Stefanski that he can do exactly what you asked? Has he shown you a track record of tweaking anything? Or do you have faith
Yes,
in him?
I do. I mean, you know what my example is? Jacoby Brissett. They didn't have a successful season, but he had his best season as a pro. So that means he did something right.
Can we get him back?
So he'll find something. He'll find something.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Leroy.
Leroy, good stuff, man.
See you later.
I wish I could slap a helmet and shoulder pads on
Gotta get Leroy back
No,
on the
you
field,
don't.
man.
Yes, I do.
Hey, let me
I'm
explain something
not.
to you.
Listen, I'm not going to call your number. I just want you in the huddle, and I want you on the sideline to get some fire and brimstone in this team that I haven't
Hey.
seen it in
Hey, could you
probably
call-
since you left.
Call him
I'm gonna be
Graybeard.
fair to all. I'm gonna be fair to all the players right now. I got fire and I got fire in my belly and I'm excited and excited about football. Yeah, mostly because I ain't got to go out there.
The first time you get hit,
That's it.
climbing the wall to get in the stands.
Got the arms.
So I ain't putting this. I'm telling you what I would do and the attitude that they should have. But look, they got to do it themselves, right?
No, you're right.
The coach can't have a game plan where he's trying to avoid the strengths of the other team. You know how soft that sounds? Come on.
We don't do no avoiding.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah.
It would be a lot easier if they had Nick Chubb. That's for
I
sure.
don't know if the Browns have a running game right now. We'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Leroy, thanks, brother. We'll see you next week.
All right, man.
I'd still like to put him in the huddle.
All
They'd
right.
look at him and say, who the hell are you?
Quick,
What are you doing here with that
am I
gray
asking
beard?
my question, Mike? Or
I got to
go
do a
ahead?
real quick fast read for a PCC poll result, and then we could ask your question. But we'll have a little fun with it before Mary Kay joins on. But whenever we read you guys a poll result, it's brought to us by our dear friends at PCC Airfoils. Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? Well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. Going back to our topic earlier, we asked the YouTube chat. So this is the live chat who watched our first segment, Watson or Purdy. Take your pick. We had 686 votes.
Good Lord.
What do you think the results were?
90%.
What was the question you asked,
Purdy
Rob?
or Watson?
I'd say 82% say give me Watson.
60-40 Watson.
Bull?
96 Watson.
Dang.
55-45.
I was
Watson to
close.
Purdy. That is one of the closest polls we've ever done.
Wow.
Wow.
You know why that was interesting and what I undersold there is fans in general are extreme homers, but also they're prisoner of the moment. And so those things are fighting against each other there. That's
Yeah,
why
they are.
No,
I mean, it's prisoner of 10 moments.
We're not going to act like this fan base is a unified front behind Deshaun Watson.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking every fan base in America.
Well,
No, that's true too. You're right.
I mean, no,
You're right.
Usually, most fan bases are when they have a franchise quarterback. Bengals Nation is all in on Burrow. Listen. If you go to any other place,
Well, but Burrow has only been a franchise quarterback.
That's not
the
an
only
apples to apples
quarterback
comparison.
that the Browns fans have seen, because they didn't watch every game when he was in Houston.
Right.
They saw the 2-minute highlight clips. Right now, what Browns fans are judging Deshaun Watson on, and rightly so, is what he's done here.
I think your point you're trying to make is the off the field stuff affects some fans, which is true. However, if Deshaun Watson had been playing like Houston Deshaun Watson his entire time, the whole fan base would be on
What I'm
board.
saying is off field and on field. So my thing is there's a lot of people that was like in the camp, but the off field stuff I don't like it. Then there's a group of people who like the move, but they feel like they gave up too much. So they like you got to
there's
show
also
me.
people who like to move but have seen him for 8 games and said,
and
that ain't it.
And, he ain't
And now
coming
they've
back.
jumped off
And
the
then
camp.
there's another group of people that said I was a never, and it was a never Trumper. So I was a never Watson guy. So like for real, like this, it's section. I see them every day.
But you know what unifies them?
Wins.
W's. If they were 4-0 right now, they'd be 100% unified carrying the Watson flag.
If he was 3-1,
They should be 3-1.
They should be a totally different story.
They should be 3-1.
By the way, all right, here's the question I asked off the air yesterday. I want to see if anybody feels whatever. We'll see. You got your house is on the line. You're putting your house up. You have two options. If Deshaun Watson doesn't play this week, two options. Browns win the game, or the 49ers pitch a shutout. What are you doing?
Can I put my shed on the line?
No, your house is on the line.
I really don't want to put my
That's
house
a really
on
nice.
the
It's
line.
a really
Jay's shed is probably more expensive than most people's houses.
It's a really nice
But
house.
still, yeah.
And
Pitch a shutout.
I'm not, and I got to, my wife don't me understand and everything. I did not bet. She's religious.
Yeah.
She's very against gambling. I am not gambling, sweetheart. I didn't put anything on the
this
line.
is for fun
This
only.
is for, she'd be like, you play fantasy and lose house.
Are we going to have to move?
You right?
Pitch a shutout.
No, zero, they're not getting no points against them.
No,
Shutout.
Yeah, if I had to pick, I don't think either one's going to happen.
But
I do think the Browns can score a point. So
all right.
I
Browns win, or the Niners win by 40.
The Browns win.
Well, now we just saw the Niners
Get
get
40
40 off the dogs at the start of the fourth quarter, and they were
Like-
up 32 on a team that's most would say are
Which
better
is
than
why-
Browns.
which is why they're not gonna do
defensive
4.
guys. Got Micah Parsons. They got
Right.
30.
Browns win.
No.
They made Micah Parsons looked invisible.
Hey, George Kittle is the way he was blocking him, like they got tight ends that are ferocious. Like, I'm blocking. Really.
I actually, believe it or not, if I had to, would bet on the Browns winning over them losing by 40.
Yeah, teams almost never lose by 40.
Especially because the Browns defense is good.
I
They're not
mean,
going to give up 40 points.
I mean, they lost to the how many? They got 28 to put on by the
The
Ravens.
Cowboys defense was very good,
Very
too.
good.
And they dropped 42 on them in three
Quick.
quarters and said, we quit.
Dallas is well. I can't never mind.
Quick. The Ravens got
Let me
28.
not say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
And I'm not
Yeah, it's a
asking
big
like
jump from 28
And
to 40.
I also want to know, I mean,
Yeah.
I know that for the sake of this discussion, it was
Yeah.
DTR playing. Like, look, guys, if Watson plays,
You gotta-
I'm still not picking the Browns. But if Watson plays,
you got a chance.
we damn well better play with them.
We-
And by that, I mean it better be up in the air in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It better not be a game where
Sure.
San Francisco is laughing on the sidelines and we're seeing their backups.
If
the
Watson
worst.
plays, I'm
That's the
expecting a
worst.
good game.
That is the worst.
And
I have
we
the
should all expect a good game if Watson plays.
Tyvus, that's the worst.
Yes, we better
There's
for
no
that price
excuse
tag.
if Watson plays for the Browns to not be competitive.
I agree.
I didn't even say win. I just said be competitive.
competitive.
If they're drinking Kool-Aid and the announcers ain't got nothing to talk about what they about to eat.
Oh, that's
today,
the worst.
That's the worst. I feel
When
so,
they're joking about where they ate last night.
oh,
I better not hear that discussion
You always
on Sunday.
have to take into the fact that every season a team is going to lose a game that they had no business losing.
You're right.
And they're going to win a game.
Well,
they
we already
had no
lost the
business.
game that we had no business losing.
So it could be. This could
Well,
be the loss
yeah.
that, you know,
I mean,
they can come in and be like,
7 yards in the fourth.
Oh,
No, but
it's the Browns.
I think Tyvus is saying going into the game.
they're going into the
Yes,
game.
it was a game they shouldn't have lost based on
Oh,
how
yeah.
it played
right,
out.
Right, going into it, it was a coin
Right.
flip because it was in
But remember,
Pittsburgh,
the Browns are only a 5-point dog.
which is surprising to
It
me.
opened up at 4.5. It's gone to 5 today.
Yeah.
If Watson doesn't play, it's going to probably be double digits.
All right.
Also, some potential inclement weather this weekend.
It,
which,
what, it's supposed to be raining?
It's supposed to rain from Thursday to Monday. We will talk about that later, but right now we're going to bring in Mary Kay. Before we bring in Mary Kay, though, I have to remind the good people out there.
MKC.
The Hall of
We
Fame.
could also start
Look at you
changing
guys.
JASE for Jace Medical, because if you need life-saving antibiotics at a pinch, Jace Medical is the place to go. Use promo code LOCKEDON at jacemedical.com. That is JASE medical.com for $20 off with promo code LOCKEDON on emergency life-saving antibiotics. They'll deliver. They'll make it easy. So make sure you check them out at jacemedical.com. And with that, we welcome in our Hall of Famer. It is Mary Kay Cabot at cleveland.com.
Hi, Mary Kay.
Mary Kay.
Oh.
Steve, what'd you do?
The lights are out.
There
she is.
Mary Kay, everything you know about Deshaun Watson's shoulder and the likelihood he plays on Sunday, just empty the notebook. What do you got?
Well, I think that it's a little bit iffy at this point. It was a red flag in my mind that was raised on Monday when he wasn't out there. So I think he really truly is day-to-day. They have to see how it goes. I just saw something come across Twitter that we've known all along that it was a contusion, a bruise, and I just saw something from Tom Pelissero saying it's a rotator cuff bruise. That's more information than we have had to this point. I don't think that changes much. We've known all along that it was a contusion. So we'll have to see. I think he'll be limited when he goes out there tomorrow. And, it's just hard to know exactly where this is going to land on Sunday. Yeah. But certainly he's probably not going to be 100% this weekend.
Mary Kay, let's go through the timeline here a little bit of what's happened, because there's been some weird comments, right? Like, we get the word that he's not practicing. You spoke to him on Friday. He told you he was expecting to play, and then Sunday he can't in the morning. Stefanski on whatever that was, I think it was Monday, said, hey, he was cleared by the doctors. He didn't play, which seemed like a weird thing for him to say. And then later in the week, Berry cleared it up, but then he went on to say, oh, yeah, I expect Watson to play next week. Have you been surprised by any of these comments?
No, I think it's hard. I think it's a hard narrative to kind of pin down a little bit, because you are dealing with a quarterback that sort of has to self-report a little bit on how he's feeling and whether or not he thinks he can actually go out there and function the way that he needs to. So I just do think that you don't always say the right thing and it doesn't always come out right. I do really believe that everyone was optimistic that he would play in that game. I know he was optimistic when I talked to him on that Friday. He 100% said that he really felt that he would play. And it was genuine. He wasn't making that up. He really 100% felt he was going to go out there and be able to play against the Baltimore Ravens. So I don't think anybody was trying to, hide anything. I don't think it was gamesmanship.
Right.
I think it was a matter of he thought it was going to recover quicker than it did.
Mary Kay, the trade deadline is 21 days from today. Do you anticipate them making any moves, whether it's in the running back or maybe tackle position? Do you anticipate them making any moves by the deadline?
You know what? I know that Andrew Berry loves to make a splash. He loves to make moves at the trade deadline, especially if you think this team is going somewhere. You're going to want to do everything that you possibly can to be as good as you can be for the home stretch. Not just the home stretch now. There's still obviously 13 games left. But, he loves to wheel and deal at the trade deadline. If they really believe they're a Super Bowl contender, and they'll know more about that in 3 weeks before the trade deadline happens on October 31st. If they see something out there that they think that can help them, they'll go get it. There are things that I think they should be doing. I think they should look for a receiver, and a good one. Again, they'll know more about their pass-catching core over the next 3 weeks. But I still think they can add to that pile. I think they should at least try. Things haven't gone the way they thought they would yet. I mean, really, when you think about this, they have one touchdown pass to a wide receiver this season, and that's Amari Cooper. Yeah. That's just not enough. And there are extenuating circumstances, but they've got to beef that up.
Yeah, I mean, so far the Elijah Moore thing looks like a bust. It's too early to give up on it. People were going bananas for him, 1,000 yards, all kinds of crazy right out the. But
G. Bush.
To me, the biggest thing, Mary Kay, is a left tackle. It's unfortunate, but I think we realize now Jed Wills is not really good at football. He might be good at another sport, and maybe he could play that. But unfortunately, he's not good at football. At least that's how I see it.
Curling.
And so, I think they got to try to replace him. Garrett Bowles of Denver, Trent Brown of New England.
New England.
I would get aggressive on a left tackle. Do you think they see it that way?
Well, you must understand that he is under contract for a guaranteed $14.175 million for next year. It's guaranteed.
Mary Kay, he looks like Shrek in that picture. I can't have that. We can't have him playing left tackle.
Well,
I'm sorry.
The other thing, you know what else is oddly enough, when I was hunting around for some statistics,
yeah,
Jed, according to ESPN analytics, and I would like to find out, just a little bit more about this, but according to ESPN's analytics, he is the number 9 player in the NFL this season in terms of pass block win rate. Is that a shocking stat to you guys?
Yes.
Blows us away because
PFF has him as like one of the lowest graded.
Almost at the bottom.
Well, there's a vast disparity in those things.
Yeah.
I want to dig into that a little bit more because, again, the ESPN rankings have him as a top 10 pass blocker in the NFL right now. So that I find very, very interesting. It needs to be explored a little bit more. Both he and DeWand have struggled in the run blocking realm, but actually DeWand is doing really nicely in the pass blocking realm. He's 16th in those ESPN analytics. And again, Jed is 9th. So I have to explore that a little bit more, but certainly the Browns believe that Jed needs to play better. He knows he needs to play better. I don't know if that's not an area that I think that they're going to go out and try to trade for someone knowing that they've got that big salary for him next year.
Yeah, they're strapped with it. I think the bigger mistake was, and you can't undo it, was guaranteeing the 5th year. Right. I hadn't seen enough out of that. I don't know why they went ahead and did that. And now you're right. I mean, that's a $15 million mistake that you have to eat. They're not in a position to do that. They're just not. They're stuck with him.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. When you think about it and you look at the salaries for left tackles, $14.175 million, if someone is going to start for you and be serviceable, is not an exorbitant amount of money for a left tackle.
But
It's
it is
really
if you
not.
have to pay another one $14 million to come in and do the job that he was supposed to do.
Right.
Now you're paying $28 million for that position, and that you can't win that way.
Right. So, I mean, they do have to figure out what they want to do. I actually think Dewan will end up over on the left side at some point. So, these are things to look at. Do you move him to guard? Do you move him to right tackle? These are things to explore. And again, the bye week came pretty early, probably too early to make a major change at that position.
Right.
And again, you can look at those Ravens statistics all you want, but you're talking about a 5th round rookie starting that game. So it almost doesn't matter what happened in that game. Not that it doesn't matter, but you kind of have to throw some of that stuff out the window or take it with a very big grain of salt.
Right. Where are we health-wise elsewhere? I know Pocic was dealing with something. Bitonio was dealing something. Anything to add on those guys or others?
Well, I don't know if you saw my story from yesterday that Joel Bitonio walked out on crutches last Wednesday, and I've been trying to dig around and figure out what's going on there. And so far, I really haven't gotten any real good concrete information. Still kind of working on that one. Everyone's been a little bit mum on that, and I don't know if we'll show up tomorrow and he'll be limited or if he won't be there. I don't really know yet. I'm still working on that. Ethan Posick, again, watched him walk out of the locker room with a very large full knee brace on his right knee. He also has a chest injury. They're all day to day. Now David Njoku played in the last game with the burns, so I'm guessing he will play again with the burns unless he had some kind of a procedure over the bye week. I don't know. None of those 3 guys were out there. The 4 players that were not out there yesterday were Deshaun, Ethan, Joel, and David Njoku. So we'll have to see what happens when we show up on Wednesday.
Mary Kay, we look at DTR. Obviously, if he has to play and Deshaun Watson doesn't play against the 49ers, it'll probably be a better outing in terms of what they do. If he does not play well that game, do you foresee any other veteran quarterbacks coming in here, or are they fine with P.J. Walker as their third guy if DTR is not performing well?
Well, that's another area that I would be looking at, knowing that Deshaun has something going on with the shoulder. I would be looking at another veteran quarterback. I mean, you didn't think that you were going to have to press Dorian Thompson-Robinson into service that early. You thought that you were going to be able to let him learn most of this year from the bench. And if he had to go in here and there, that he was going to. But now that you know that Deshaun has a shoulder injury, or at least a shoulder bruise, maybe not, something structurally wrong in there. But you just don't know. I mean, what if Deshaun gets out there and he can't throw the deep pass and he doesn't have his full faculties or whatever they're saying? I don't know that you can count on DTR. I would probably almost go with PJ Walker at this point because you don't have Nick Chubb. You don't have the running game that you thought you were going to have. You don't even have the blockers in front of him that you thought that you were going to have right now at this point. So I think, someone with a little bit more experience might be wise, but I just don't know yet what their thinking is on that.
Mary Kay, what is your overall pulse on the team right now? Obviously coming off of a Baltimore loss, having a bye week, and now they got San Francisco. What is the pulse of this team? Are they eager to get back out there? Obviously, it's a huge opponent. It's like a measuring stick. What do you think they think about this?
Well, I'll tell you what, things change from week to week. Either the sky is falling or the outlook looks bright. And if they get beat by the San Francisco 49ers and stack 2 losses together at home when they're heading out on a 5 out of 7 road swing, the picture is going to look a whole lot bleaker than if they can go out there and somehow beat a really good 49ers team. And that's why you get a Deshaun Watson, so that you can go win this football game. And they've got the defense, they've got enough talent to go out and beat the San Francisco 49ers. But right now, I don't feel super confident in them winning this football game. I think in part because of just what I saw them do to the Cowboys the other night. And, the Browns, they don't have Nick Chubb. They don't, Jerome Ford, I think, is going to be a good back. But remember, he missed most of training camp. And, I think he's still kind of finding his way, again, a little bit more. Kareem Hunt's still finding his way. Elijah Moore hasn't worked out as a runner. So the strong running game that you thought you were going to have right now, that just hasn't really been there for them. So, I think it's tough. Look at that schedule right there. They've got these long road trips. I think a lot is riding on this game on Sunday, because if you can beat this team, it really changes the outlook and the vibe.
Well, you aren't kidding. I mean, that's exactly what the way
I
San
think we're
Francisco
panicking
work.
a little much.
No. What she said was
2-2. The schedules. Mary Kay, I know they go on the road, but like everybody, I feel like everybody's so doom and gloom right now. And
the
listen,
positive one.
I mean, come on. They're playing the Seahawks, the Cardinals. I like those two teams are that good. Let's go. Win some freaking games. Injuries are not an excuse. We can't give up on guys after 4 games.
Seahawks are a very good team.
We all thought this team was good, and now we all think they're crap 4 games in. Let's go. Deshaun Watson, he's going to play this week. We're going to go. Let's play. Let's go.
Okay, I agree with you, but the reality of it is, when we thought they were a good team, Nick Chubb was healthy and Deshaun Watson was healthy.
Well, teams lose running backs. That's part of football. Let's go. Suck it up.
Lose your best running back.
You think that Devin A-Chain has been the best running back in football this year? He got hurt. They're going to cry and whine? They're going to go out and play.
Every team in football lost their best running back and best quarterback. They'd be where we are.
Are you comparing Devin A-Chain to Nick Chubb?
I'm saying Devin A-Chain is the best, has been the most impressive back in the NFL this year. And that's a fact.
Overseas.
It's not a fact. Not a fact. It's an opinion.
That is
whatever.
An opinion. I'd still take McCaffrey.
The guy has averaged 12 yards a carry.
Change it.
He has like 10 touchdowns.
And you call us prisoners of the moment?
I'm about to say.
Now the sample size isn't so small.
What did I say? This year.
Right.
Has he been one of, if not the best back this year?
4 games.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know that. I got him on my fantasy team. I know
Has he been one of the best backs this year?
Yes, he has.
If not the best so far this year.
Yes, he has.
Sorry, Mary Kay, I'm rambling. The point is, every team has injuries. You suck it up and move on. Let's go.
So
Can't be whining about it.
So
I don't have a question. That's it. Go ahead, Travis. Ask her a question. I'm out of control.
I was going to say that, there are other things right now that still need to be going a lot better than they have gone so far. The running game hasn't been good. The passing game has not been good. So there's plenty of room for improvement. If they can get those things rolling a little bit, then they'll be okay. And as you mentioned, they have so many more easier games than having to play the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, let's face it. They've got some games coming up that they darn well better win. If they have to play against Gardner Minshew, in Indianapolis, they should win that game. I mean, they should beat the Cardinals. There's a lot of teams on the schedule yet that they should beat. And the good thing for them is, if we're going positive here, is that the AFC North is wide open. The Pittsburgh Steelers did them a tremendous favor this past weekend by beating the Ravens. And it's not like the Ravens are running away with it at all. It's kind of all bunched up there. I mean, it looks like Joe Burrow is finding his way. So, these teams are all going to kind of, cancel each other out and beat up on each other a little bit. And when they get to the end, I still think it's going to be sort of a fight to the finish. But it's still wide anybody.
Mary Kay, where's Cedric Tillman? I mean, we saw a lot of him. I like what he was doing. In the preseason, I get his preseason. We haven't seen him. Marquise Goodwin is only running one route, deep and straight. And we've been seeing David Njoku a lot, helping out, pass blocking, chipping, doing things up front. It just seems like there's a little lack of the passing game, and we don't have very many guys out in the route. You see Harrison Bryant more than Njoku. Haven't seen Cedric Tillman, big body receiver. It just seems like, those guys have just been kind of taken out of the playbook a little bit.
Well, I think that they probably broke every single thing down at the bye, and they had to pivot a little bit. They had to make some adjustments, with no Nick Chubb, no Jack Conklin. They've had to do some different things. You have to leave David Njoku in to block a little bit more, as you mentioned. You just have to do some things a little bit differently. But they broke everything down and put it all back together, even though it was early to have to do so. So now let's see what they have in store. Let's see if they can find a way to get Elijah Moore on track. One of the ways that I would do that, I have no idea if they'll do this or not, but I would kind of dial him back from the wide back dual role. I would just let him get some success in the passing game. Just try to find some routes that he feels really comfortable with. Go back, look at his rookie year tape with the Jets, find out why he was able to catch 5 touchdown passes in his last 5 games before he hurt a quad and missed the last 5. Like, what was he doing? What were those routes? What does he like to do? Get him some confidence, get him some success. Then when you have that under his belt, then run him on some jet sweeps and some other things. But for right now, I don't know if I would be using him in the running game too much. I would find other ways to do that, maybe more Pierre Strong. They've got to change some things up, and I'm sure they will. I'm sure that we will see some new wrinkles and some nuances when they get back out on the field.
All right, Mary
Thanks,
Kay,
Mary
thank
Kay.
you very much. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Mike, can we take a look at you had the receiving stats, the gross receiving stats.
I do. You want to see the
gross.
receiving
And when I
numbers
say
this
gross,
season?
I don't mean total. I mean gross. Can you put those up? These are our receiving numbers for the year, guys.
This is gross or net?
DPJ
through 4 games.
through 4 games, 75 yards.
Contract year.
Jerome Ford, 77 yards.
Well, Jerome Ford's a running back. So,
Sure.
I mean, how many yards do you expect?
Sure,
He has
that's where he
more-
should be. He shouldn't be 4th on their list of receivers. Guys, this is for 4 games.
We said we was trying to figure out if we should get Amari Cooper.
And we talked about they've got 1 touchdown for a receiver this year.
Yeah.
This has been a problem throughout Stefanski's tenure. I mean, other than the fact that your receivers don't catch touchdowns, how do you like them? That's like Jason kind of stumbled into this, but he said, well, interceptions aren't our thing.
Dog picks
You know,
our thing.
let me say
What
something here
sense
for a
does
minute.
that make?
Let me say something for a minute.
I know.
What
That's-
sense is that?
what he said.
Browns fans before the season were high-level cocky. High-level cocky.
I had him 9-8.
And I liked it. Not you.
I had him
Yeah.
10-7.
a good chunk of Browns fans, including my good friends G. Bush and Earl.
Well, they always are, though.
No, wait a second.
Fans are always
and I
cocky.
liked it. I liked the high-level cocky attitude. And now my friends Earl and G are miserable.
You
They're
miserable?
not 0-4 here.
Are you miserable, G?
He's miserable. Look at that face.
But
He's
Bull,
miserable right now.
they're 2-2 without their best player on offense and with an
Earl.
underperforming receiver core
Poor Earl.
and a
Browns'
quarterback that's hurt.
most
I mean,
important player is Deshaun Watson,
He is now.
not Nick Chubb.
Yeah, you're right, but I'm saying their best player.
Who cares?
so let me ask
Deshaun
you-
Watson.
Who cares?
Guys
care.
get hurt. We can't whine and cry
No,
like
I think-
babies.
well, Bull-
That's part of the game.
Bull,
Bull,
but
you
wait
just-
a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
By the way,
Wait a
let
minute.
me just one last thing.
Go ahead.
Since Nick Chubb got hurt,
Yeah.
the Browns lost the Steeler game because of a turnover.
Sure.
Had nothing to do with Nick Chubb.
Nope.
Okay?
No.
Then they won and played a good offensive game against Tennessee. Last week they had a slappy playing quarterback. What are you going to do? That's it.
Bull.
Let's go. Move it.
Wait,
keep it moving.
wait a minute.
I
Hold on.
want cocky G. Bush, and I want cocky Earl, and I want him back now. Let's get it together.
Bull, Bull, let me ask you this question right
I know where
here.
he's going,
This
'cause
is
this is where I was
interesting.
going.
This is
Yeah.
very interesting. So if Joe Burrow got hurt,
Thank you.
Yeah.
you would be still
He's
here.
Joe Burrow
Let's
and
go,
Joe-
guys! Get
Joe
hurt.
Burrow is
We're
hurt.
gonna
Hey,
still
hold on.
win.
You said-
no, out for the year.
You
Deshaun
said
Watson's not out for the year.
Nick Chubb is.
That's not a comparison. It's absurd.
Jamar Chase out for the year.
It's like so.
I would keep it moving,
Bull,
G.
no, you wouldn't.
Bull's intentions are
Or valiant.
I understand that.
He's well intended. Okay, and I understand we're saying, guys, get hurt. I understand that,
Yes.
but it has
He's
to
a
be.
running back,
but-
Jay. It's not the end of the world. I
but,
love Nick Chubb.
Bull, it factors into the equation. It's the elephant in the
So does
room.
every other injury on every
and we're
other
not
team.
whining about it. It's our reality.
But the
and we're now talking about our new reality.
Well, the reality is they played their best offensive game in the last year and a half without Nick Chubb. That's a fact.
Against one of the
Wait.
worst pass defenses in the NFL.
That wasn't
They
their best
played other
offensive
bad teams
game.
and not done anything.
That was not their best offensive
So
game in
if-
the last year and a half.
You can't.
So-
you can't
No,
really say
since
that.
Watson's been back.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson
Watson's
played
been back.
his best game against one of the worst pass defenses
And
in the
that
NFL.
has to be factored in, too.
Correct.
Of course.
But here's the thing. You don't win because of running backs. We know this. I love Nick Chubb. He's great. They brought Deshaun Watson in to win games like this. They brought him in to beat the Bengals.
You're right.
He brought him in to beat the Niners. We didn't. It wasn't about having Nick Chubb carry you to the Super Bowl. And I love Nick. Nick Chubb is my all-time favorite Browns player. 100%. I don't like any player more. I love him. But he's a running back. I can survive. It's okay. Let's go. I don't want to hear it.
No.
We predicted 5,000 yards for Deshaun Watson. We did. Keep it moving. And I'll tell you, Jamar Chase got hurt last year, did he not?
Yeah, still have T.
Okay?
Higgins.
The Bengals kept winning. They kept winning. That's it.
So is T. Higgins good?
He's hurt.
Okay.
You hear me whining about that?
So imagine Amari Cooper being gone. Who we throwing it to?
He's not gone. He's here.
I'm saying, just imagine if he was out. Who would we throw it to?
I get it. That every good player that gets hurt is a negative, but other teams have lost good players.
We only have
Burrow's
Amari
been playing
Cooper,
hurt.
But
Higgins is out.
Our only offensive weapon right now is Amari Cooper.
Okay, but he's healthy. So what's the?
If I'm a team that's going up against the Browns, you know what I'm doing?
Taking him right out of the game.
Please double that man. They are done.
He's not catching passes.
If Deshaun Watson is the quarterback we expect him to be,
let me ask you a question.
None of that matters. You know that.
I
Let
agree.
me ask you a question.
But then,
ask you a question?
I'm looking. Can you show that receiving numbers one more time?
I don't
think Bull
care
seen it.
about the
I
stupid
don't
receiving
think
numbers.
Bull quite seen it, or he understands what he's saying.
Give me the
right
wide
now.
receiving numbers for the
Please.
Chiefs. Show me the wide receiving
What
numbers
is
for the
that?
Chiefs.
Who on that list is going to do something that you just think
Let me
is?
bring up the list. Bring up the Chiefs list, and let's see what it is after Travis Kelce.
I'm
All right, so this season, Travis
give me the
Kelce.
Chiefs.
Put that back up, Steve. Travis Kelce has 222 receiving yards.
Less than Amari Cooper. Oh, he's played one less game.
Justin Watson.
Oh, no, they play equal amount of games.
They've both played 4
because they haven't had their bye.
Justin Watson, 219.
Oh, okay.
So he would be second.
Big difference.
Rashee Rice, the rookie, 173.
Okay. Those are not
Noah
impressive
Gray,
numbers either.
They better than that.
133. Sky Moore, 123. MVS, 116.
So they got the ones.
They got
Let's be
three
clear.
dudes.
They have nobody.
Hold on. Can I just want to say something.
Between our
I'm going to ask you a question.
I want Cocky G. Bush back.
No,
I want him back.
I'm going to tell you. You know what gives me cockiness is studying. When you go into a test and you're ready to knock a test out, that means you put the work and due diligence in to learn what's going on, and you're confident. The reason I'm not confident is because I've watched the All-22 from every single game twice. And what I see from the coach's tape is not pretty. Kevin Stefanski, to be truthful, we've given him a pass. We just say it doesn't matter. Hold on.
I'm not giving him a pass.
Hold on.
I'm firing his ass.
We keep saying it doesn't matter because you got Deshaun Watson for this. Doesn't matter what they do. We got Deshaun Watson for this. Deshaun Watson is not Superman. He has issues just like every other quarterback does. And when you take your best player that's been hiding your ineptitude at play calling and your schemes, you look a lot better than you are. You take Nick Chubb out of this run game, they don't even try to establish the run game. They don't even try it. They just throw their hands up and put a fifth round quarterback in against the Baltimore Ravens and go 5 wide. Do you know how demoralizing that is?
That has nothing to do with Watson, G. Forget that game.
But what? Hold on.
But wait a second.
Hold on.
But wait a second. You just said
what?
Watson played his best game against the Titans. That's a fact.
Can I give you this? And the other part is Deshaun Watson has not thrown a football in 3 weeks. How am I supposed to be excited about that?
That's true.
That's like no, he didn't play Monday. We're playing a team that's
3 weeks. It's not 3 months.
It's 3 weeks, and he just played his best game.
He has thrown the ball.
So listen.
He has thrown the ball.
So we talked about him.
He only threw one
He
pass
threw one pass Friday.
No, he threw passes yesterday. It says it in Pelissero's report.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
He threw the ball. Pelissero said he was throwing the ball.
Well, I didn't see this report.
I didn't see it.
What do you think? How would he have not thrown the ball? How would he know he couldn't throw if he hadn't thrown the ball?
Well, you can figure out that you can't throw a ball without throwing a ball. I've done that many times.
Is there any chance he hasn't actually thrown a ball in the last 3 weeks?
I think he should, by now, he better at least.
Of course he has.
And listen, and by the way, there's a difference between playing catch on the sideline and working a real practice.
By the way,
you got to be working his mechanics.
To be truthful, if he was ready to go, he'd be on the field with the other 2 quarterbacks throwing the receivers. Let's not play those semantic games.
No, I'm with
He's
you.
not out here throwing the football.
Well, he might be tomorrow. We don't know.
But
and that will change everything, Bull. Let me tell you something
Won't
right
change
now.
everything, but
What we're going on are the breadcrumbs that we have. And the
That's all I
breadcrumbs
got.
that we have were that he couldn't throw the ball yesterday in practice.
Okay.
So, now, Bull, to your point, and I get what you're trying to do, and I appreciate it. I do. No, I appreciate it.
I do too.
I think we all need to hear this. However, if he practices tomorrow and we see him stand in front of cameras after practice and he says, I threw the ball with zip, accuracy, my arm feels great, the boat's turning 180 degrees.
That's right. Listen,
We're
I
ready to
get
go.
it. I get some concern about Watson. And if he doesn't play, yeah, it's a mess. But let me just say this.
That's right.
But,
That's where we are.
Okay, but let me say this. Despite the criticisms of Stefanski, and I know you're not a big Stefanski guy,
No.
and there's fair criticism on Stefanski, but in my opinion, the truth is, I've said this once, I've said this a million times. There's a couple of really great coaches that make a difference, a couple of really bad ones on the bottom. Stefanski's in that middle group of most coaches in the NFL.
Fair.
He's not going to kill you. He's not going to win it for you. I understand he's not Shanahan or Reed.
Ask
There's nothing we
DTR
can do.
to kill him.
Well, maybe he'll kill DTR. But here's what I know. Here's what I know, and I know you'll agree with.
All right.
Even though they didn't play great against Baltimore, I 100% believe in this defense. Do you?
Yes.
Okay? That's number one. Deshaun Watson, again, I get it. We got to see him back on the field. The last time we saw him play, he played the best game he's played as a Brown.
Yes.
Fact.
Okay?
Yep.
Those two things
facts.
give me optimism.
Okay.
Despite some flaws on this team.
Are you saying-
because the reality is that all the teams in this division are flawed.
Are you
None of
saying-
them look great.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that you're optimistic that the Browns will win this game against the 49ers if Deshaun Watson is playing?
They have a chance.
That's what you're saying?
I think if Watson plays,
They have a chance.
They have a reasonable chance to win the game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Of course.
I'm under the assumption that he's not playing.
Well, no, if he's not playing,
That's what
they're
I'm
gonna win the
talking
game.
about.
Yeah. But I think overall, after this game, the schedule is pretty favorable for the Browns. They're not playing a lot. They're not playing the Bills. They're not playing the Chiefs. They're not playing the Dolphins. You're not playing the Eagles.
With that being said, would you rest him and keep him out of harm's way this week?
That's
so
a
he can-
conversation that needs to be had at some point.
And we will
again-
have it this week.
Yeah.
Do not worry.
Again,
At some point.
my physical therapist is my friend. And he's a very knowledgeable guy. All right, he's been in the business a long time.
And it's-
He said to me that this is just with a bruise, whether it's a rotator cuff or whatever, it's just people heal differently.
Okay.
So you're not necessarily going to set it back. If he feels okay to play, then he can play. It's not necessarily going to be
Here's
a
the bad
setback.
part about this is from now on, when he runs onto the field in his white jersey with the 4 on it or his brown jersey with the 4 on it, he's also going to have a big target right here.
Sure.
And that's where every defensive end is aiming for.
And you have
from
one
this
of the.
point
And,
moving
and Mary
forward.
Kay just told me we're not getting another tackle. We just got to live with Jay
No.
Wills.
Yeah.
We found one
By
stat.
the way, those ESPN analytics,
That blows me
what are
away.
they watching? And
that-
what are they smoking?
It's a little surprising.
I mean, the fact that they have him that highly rated in pass block.
They have the team. I sent you guys the
I
picture
know.
of
I
the team.
saw the whole thing. It's insane.
Those came out 3 hours ago this morning. So I
are
double-checked
they
to make sure that
watching?
wasn't like a projection from week 1. That was of 3 hours ago.
Cumulative to this point in the season.
Yeah, shocking.
They have him as one of the best pass blockers.
They don't.
Shocking.
They don't like. I would listen. I would
Pay
like,
the man.
I would like to talk to them folks. I would like to talk to them folks, and you tell me
Pay the man.
because listen. I mean, it's bad.
It's awful.
Premier left
And it's
tackle.
certainly not in top 5. All right.
No.
You
We're
want
going to
do a
move on
read?
to our next topic. Before we do that, I want to remind the good people out there that at 12:30 on Fridays, we go from right here on YouTube to Channel 3 WKYC for the final 30 minutes of our show. Brand new, never before seen Browns preview content. This week it'll be Browns 49ers. It's been fun. The show moves at a rapid, lightning pace, a little different flow than your normal YouTube hour and a half, 2 hours per day, but it's a lot of fun. Check us out on WKYC at 12:30 on Fridays. Guys, Week 5 is officially in the books. Some teams have had buys. Most haven't. So I figure before we put Week 5 behind us, let's see where the Browns stack up against teams with similar records thus far. So of all the 2-win teams, we'll start with the win side. The Browns are one of 10 teams that currently have 2 wins. The Bengals, the Chargers, the Commanders also fall into that category, as do the Jets, Packers, Raiders, and Rams. And last but not least, Steve, you show me the final graphic. The final 2-win teams, the Texans and the Titans. So out of those 10 teams, guys, how do the Browns stack up?
I've got him right in the middle.
I got them nearly close
I
to
got
the
close
top.
to the top
Close to the
also.
top.
Close to the top?
Yeah.
Okay, so go put them up. Put the first screen up.
The
again.
first one is all you need.
See, it's really tough because obviously, as Bulls pointed out, the team that you have in Week 1 doesn't look like the team that you have in Week 5. It won't look like the team you have in Week 10, and it certainly won't look like the team you have in Week 17. Just based off the football that I've seen so far, I have them above the Bengals. They beat them head-to-head by 24.
Yeah.
And the Bengals have looked better, but they still haven't eclipsed what I thought they were going to be. The Chargers are a better 2-win team than we think. Now, they still can't get out of the way of their
That's
head
the only
coach.
three you need to look
I
at.
think they're better than the Commanders. As you go to the next page.
That's the only three you need to look at. The rest of them is irrelevant.
Well, they're better than the Jets, Packers, Raiders. I think the Rams scare me.
The Rams
The Rams
and the
are
Texans
sneaky.
are feisty.
The
They are
Rams
are better.
feisty, but I don't know what they are. I know they've got
the
they've
Rams
got
can
receivers
catch-
that have more than 75 reception
Listen,
receiving
let me
yards.
tell you
The
this.
Rams
Let me tell you
got
this.
something
Yeah.
going on over there.
Let me tell you this.
And it's a great offensive-minded coach.
The
That's
Jets
why.
got a damn good defense.
Yeah.
And let's be clear about this.
So do we.
So
Listen, I like their defense. I look at it like this. I would not be surprised if they go if they play the Jets and lose that game.
well, they did last year.
Yeah, they lost
They
last year
should
with Joe
not lose
Flacco.
that game.
Well, the
Absolutely
game-
not.
We shouldn't have lost last
Of
year.
course.
That was the ugliest loss I've ever watched.
the
as a
Rams-
fan.
No. Pittsburgh was the ugliest.
I would put the Browns
We
number.
had an onside kick that we lost.
We were up.
Guys,
all we
let's-
had to do is take care of the football.
Yeah, they.
All we had to do was fall on the 3-yard line.
We get it.
Does that?
All we had to do is recover an onside kick.
All we had to do was not fumble the ball.
It's kind of crazy.
I don't know.
right.
Pittsburgh was
What do you
painful. The
mean?
Jets was worse.
So what you got, Bull?
The Jets
Yeah.
was worse.
I have the Browns as the second team right now behind only the Chargers.
Wow, really?
I think I do.
I'm right there with him.
I think the Rams and Texans are feisty, but they're not better than the Browns right now.
Yeah, it'd be a good. Don't we play the Rams this year?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes.
do.
Do later in the season.
Yeah.
We do play
That's
that.
going to be
I-
interesting.
I thought Nakua's numbers would go way down when Cooper Kupp came
Nah,
back.
they still the same.
They're still up there.
I like the Rams offense way better than the Browns.
but I like our defense
I like
way
the,
better
I like
than
the,
the
de-
Rams
I like
defense.
the de- I do like the defense way better
See,
than
I
the
don't.
defense.
I don't. The Rams secondary. Who is in the Rams secondary?
JJ3.
Yeah, that's right. He's back.
He got his nickname and everything.
Wait a minute. What's the other? What's the nickel that they took?
he
Yeah,
back?
both of them went
Troy
back.
Hill.
Troy Hill
went back
Right,
too.
right.
Hey, somebody got to answer.
I've
for
watched a
this.
lot of the Rams. Because I'm doing this Sunday podcast where I talk about all the games, I'm trying to soak in much as possible. Plus, for my big fantasy league, I follow my key players, and I have the Rams running back in my big fantasy.
Kyron
league.
Williams.
Kyron Williams.
Same.
Yeah,
I
I
got
do
him
too.
too.
So I've watched a lot of them, and I think they're an interesting team. But the Browns I think the Browns are better. I think only the Chargers are better at the moment.
Can the Texans win the AFC South?
Yes. I don't think they
division's
will,
poor.
but I think they can. I think Jacksonville's going to win it.
I just don't. I don't.
That was a tough loss Sunday, but
I don't like the numbers C.J. Stroud putting up because it just, I'm a
What's
numbers dude.
that supposed to mean?
No, I mean I respect him.
Go Bucks.
But I can't. I just have a hard time thinking like you can't let rookies come in and look better. The offense can't look better.
every one of his games he's thrown for 250 yards. He had 249
This
Sunday.
game, but this last game he didn't do anything. They didn't get in the end zone. They kept settling.
Yeah.
They lost because they
They
settled
lost
for field goals.
because they were kicking field
They
goals.
got one touchdown in the
Yeah.
game.
But he's
late.
looked.
No, he's
very
played
good.
very well.
He's looked very good.
Yeah.
played
So
very
and to wrap it up, I got the Browns second with Bull behind the Chargers, but the Rams scare me, and Bengals. I feel like
Bengals
they're
really scare
figuring it out.
They are. They're
The
gonna-
secondary still scares me, but they are figuring it
I'll
out.
tell you what's funny. The secondary's played pretty well.
They scare me.
But
Telling you.
I'm a little concerned about their interior defensive line. I think DJ Reader might be slipping.
You think?
Wow.
They have not stopped the run in the middle because Hubbard and
He single-handedly beat the Browns.
Hubbard and
last year.
Hendrickson are playing out of their mind. The two of those guys.
The 2 and 2.
On the outside.
I listen. I think that they're in the same area as the Chargers, the Rams, the Bengals, and then there's a couple of teams in there that is just sneaky.
I think the question is, on a neutral field, would the Browns be an underdog to any of these teams? They would be to the Chargers, I think. Small underdog. They might.
The
I
Bengals-
think that's it.
I-
Not today. If the
Today-
Bengals play well again this week, against Seattle?
They would be dogs.
Assuming Deshaun Watson plays?
Yeah, I'm about to say, if the way Deshaun's banged up right now,
Well,
they'd be
okay,
dogs.
yeah, right. I'm assuming Watson.
And don't we have to think about that a little bit? Like,
Sure.
Even if Watson is playing, he was just working through rust, right?
Right, yeah.
Now you're working through rust
Pain.
and
Nah,
physical stuff.
I gave no pass. I'm giving no pass to Burrow. I gave no
Well,
pass to Baker.
he said not
Let's
to.
go.
He said not
Suck
to
it up.
give no pass.
It's a bruise. Let's go.
It is.
Well,
That's-
wait,
When he's
guys,
ready
let
to,
me-
I'm
let
not
me
saying
ask
he
you
shouldn't
this.
play till he's ready, but once he plays, he's on the field. Fair game criticism. Go
So
ahead.
we just got the Browns media schedule for tomorrow, which is a little different than it has been on Wednesdays in the past. They have open locker room at 11:20. Stefanski does not speak till 1 p.m. and they practice at 1:30. So we actually will not get a live update on the air from Stefanski. We may get some from the players, but no official word from Stefanski
Right.
until after tomorrow's show. So you mentioned this.
Well, wait a minute. If you want to go ahead and do it now, you can subscribe to the coaches tier because we'll have some of his early comments that we can react to in overtime
Hopefully,
tomorrow.
Yep.
assuming he goes
Which is
exactly
paid
at 1, there's a
content,
chance.
$4.99 a month, but we can react to that tomorrow.
But I do want to ask you guys this, because Tyvis, you kind of brought it up. Tomorrow we may have too much information to have this discussion. I think it is worth having real quick. And the last topic we had, we could scrap, not that important. But
Go Bucks.
would you rest Watson for this game if he wasn't 100%, knowing the opponent, knowing how much you need him for
absurd.
the rest of the season?
That is
or
absurd.
Is that an absurd question, Bull?
It's an absurd question.
Would I rest-
Football players play injured.
I'm about to say.
If he feels like he can play, nobody's 100%. Deshaun Watson's not going to be 100% this season. And neither is Joe Burrow, and neither is anybody else. Let's go. If he can play, he should play. It's up to him.
Would I rest Deshaun Watson in this game? No, I wouldn't. Because
how's it a risk? It's a bruise.
No, I wouldn't, because for the simple fact that I need to know, this organization needs to know how we are. And that's what this game is all about, is knowing 49ers versus Browns. We can go front office, players, coaches, everybody. It's a matchup because they are where you want to be, and we need to see where we at on that pole.
I will say
I'm
this.
not going with even if he's hurt, it still gives my team a better chance
Oh,
to
so
win.
you are saying play him.
Yeah,
okay.
confidence-wise, I think your team is much more confident with number 4 out there than
All of that being said,
17 or
you start him,
Yeah.
and then you let your eyes make that decision. You'll know pretty early on how badly he's affected by injury.
You would know right when y'all sitting down and saying, Deshaun, we're going to go over this play sheet. Which ones do you think you good at? And if it's something that's over 25 yards and he said, I can't do that, then you know.
Then he's a no-go.
I'd rather
throw the ball 25
have
yards.
Watson only throwing short passes than DTR.
So I do want to let y'all know, like, if he gets hurt during, like, this is what happens when you have setbacks, right? He just sat 3 weeks. He come back in this game, he feel the pressure to play. Now he play. Go out there, non-contact throw, he hurt his shoulder. Or, by the way, I mean, he has to be able to just protect himself, because at the end of the day, we got one of the worst left tackles in the game.
Not according to ESPN.
Well, that's according to them. I don't know what they're looking at. Everybody got an opinion. At the end of the day, if he gets hurt and he's out a sustained period of time,
then this season's a wash.
This season's a wash.
And then you're 0 for 2 on 5 years.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? Like, you can't. Like, you
So
can't-
would
What
you
are you
rest
going
him,
to wait
G?
for?
if he's not 100%, he's not playing.
Well, but football player, you know that.
What if
Football players never 100%.
what if he's 80%?
It all depends on where he can throw the football. If he can't
I just told you.
if he can't
gonna
throw-
find out.
If you can't throw 20 yards,
Oh,
no,
well, then
not
no.
playing.
If he can throw 20 yards, but it feels sore while he's doing it, then again, I'm not saying he should. I don't feel what he's feeling, right? Deshaun Watson's got to make the decision for himself. But if he feels like he's ready to go, then I'm playing him.
Here's my thought process.
If they hit that spot on that shot, he'd
It's
be all
done.
right.
Here's my problem. We done already been through this. We see Browns fans learn, but never come into no knowledge. You always learning. Baker Mayfield sat a couple weeks. He was hyped and amped up.
He said one
He
week.
said 1 week.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm back for I'm back for Pittsburgh." You come sliding in Pittsburgh. You could have played the backup, and then we got the whole season. We talking about the shoulder when you could have waited it out, did what you needed to do, and played. Now here's the thing: this time, if you mess it up, you got a whole organizational reset. So you can play him right now if you want
It
to.
reminds me of a joke. What do you tell a guy that's got 2 black eyes? Nothing. He didn't listen the first 2 times. And to Bull's point, Bull says football players play hurt. They play hurt. That's what they do. This isn't a football player.
This is your
This is
quarterback.
the franchise.
Yeah,
this
but
is a guy that's making more guaranteed money than every other football player in the National Football League.
Here's the big question that's not true anymore, but
Guaranteed money, yes, it's true.
oh, enough with the guaranteed money. Joe
if
Burrow's
he
not getting that
80%
last
can
year's
throw the
contract.
ball, push the
And
ball.
Patrick
know.
Mahomes, I think, just got more in his latest
We don't
deal.
know. Who knows if he tears another
Deshaun
ACL?
Watson can throw a 15-yard out to the field, he good enough.
Here's something you guys are ignoring.
Okay.
Some injuries.
Because that's
Their
a
two
long,
deep
that's a
safeties will be creeping
long
way
throw.
up.
15-yard out route to the field side
Yeah.
receiver. That's a long throw. If he can complete that, he can play.
Tyvis, here's the thing I think you guys are ignoring. If it's an injury that you're more likely to get hurt again by playing with,
right.
then you consider something like that.
Right.
If it's an injury that, hey, it's a bruise, there might be some pain, but it's not going to, like getting hit again is not going to make it any worse.
I'd have to hear this from an orthopedic surgeon, because you're right.
Yeah.
I want to know this from an orthopedic surgeon. Are you more likely to tear a rotator cuff if it's already bruised? And none of us here can say.
That's correct.
I've torn my rotator cuff. It wasn't bruised prior. So I don't know. I want to know this. Are you more likely to tear a bruised rotator cuff? Because if that's the point, and that's what the Browns have to find out and answer, if that's the point, why would you subject him to unnecessary hits to one of the most ferocious defenses in the NFL when he is the franchise?
The fact of the matter is this. Deshaun Watson playing 80%, 80% Deshaun Watson. What's your chances of winning that game?
You're asking a different question.
You're
asking a different question. Before we get to that, I have to know this. Is he more likely to tear his rotator cuff, which he's done for the year, if he's playing with a bruised shoulder or bruised rotator cuff? If that's the case, wait for the contusion to go away, and then you're right back where you were before the injury started.
No, the question is, what's the chances of you winning the game with an 80%
again, Tyvis, I understand the question you're asking. I'm thinking long picture here. You're thinking one game.
No, I'm thinking
a game, by the way, that most people think they're going to lose anyhow.
Exactly. So why? So that's the case. Then you rest him. Then if that's the case, if you have no chance of winning it anyway.
I didn't say no chance. I said most people think they're going to lose this game even if Deshaun plays. I think you got to take all of the evidence and you have to weigh this, and I hope the Browns do that. The reason I told the joke about the guy with the 2 black eyes. The Browns found out what happened when you play a quarterback that's injured. He's not 100%, and they lost a lot of games that they maybe could have won with a backup because their backup was the highest paid backup in the league. Now, also needing to be factored into this, their backup now is the least experienced quarterback in the NFL.
Oof. And then people are gonna say, look, man, you did this before with a number 1 overall pick. You got 3 number 1s invested in the guy. You got a boatload of money. Now he's going to say, well, look, how am I supposed to feel about it? You put Baker out there, then you hung him out to dry. Then you came and got me. I got here and thought we was going to get a little better. Guess what? You telling me to go out there, we got Jed Wills protecting me? My arm is... And then they've already come out and said, 1 week Stefanski says you're going to play. The next week, the general manager says you're going to play. People are already starting to be like, I get text messages, well, he changed because of the money. We need somebody to go out there. At least Baker went out there and played injured.
I heard people saying that.
All I'm going to tell
That's
you
ridiculous.
Is that
I heard people saying that.
Baker was playing for a contract.
All I'm going to tell you
Watson
is
has no reason to play financially.
Just be careful how far you dig your hole. You can't just keep spotting all L's. Here, we're going to sit this one out. We're going to take this L. We're going to take this L.
And the Browns aren't looking at this.
It's not even Tom Brady going to get you out of this.
And just because fans think the Browns are going to lose,
you got to figure it out.
Reason to play a guy.
No, but again, you have to look at everything. No one piece of evidence is going to make this decision. It's got to be a careful assessment of all of what we know. And the big piece to this, to me, I'm going to text my orthopedic surgeon later today, and I'm going to ask him that question.
I texted mine.
I know he's in surgery today. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's from early morning until 2.
Well, I'm going to call mine. I'm about to say, I ain't even got one.
I don't have a surgeon.
You're too young. I didn't have a surgeon when I was your age.
My PT says, and I texted my orthopedic surgeon as well, but my PT is very knowledgeable.
Sure.
He's like a higher level.
Sure. Right.
And he said he would say it is very slightly, but yes, because the tissue is disturbed.
And that's why I raised that question.
Yeah.
You've had injured knees, yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
I know you have.
Yeah, I'm still dealing with
I've been told a number of times this. The damage is done. You can't make it any worse. Okay, then I'm going.
That's exactly what they told me about my quad, when I had strained my quad.
Right, and see, so that is a valuable.
And guess
piece
what
of
guess what I did?
You probably
pulled my hamstring.
I was just going to say, when the quad goes, what goes next? Now, you know what they did that was really sneaky and careful? Tyvus, all the damage is done to your quad. You can't do any more damage to your quad. What they didn't tell you is when your quad is weaker, you're stressing your hamstring, and now you're at a significant higher chance of hurting something else.
Now, watch this, too. If ain't nothing structurally wrong, but he's out here throwing the ball and is not in his right mechanics, in the right motion, now all of a sudden, instead of the shoulder, your tricep now.
So what?
Isn't that what happened to Baker?
So if he's not feeling great, if he wants to play, what should they sit him a month?
I would say until the risk of significant injury is gone.
What if it's
a month? We can't answer that. And by the way, my orthopedic surgeon will have to say this. Well, I'd have to see the MRI. I can't tell you.
There's only two.
It could be a grade 1 contusion. It could be a grade 4 contusion.
If it's a month type thing, then technically he's going to sit out for another 2 weeks.
Sure.
Which is two
There's
very
only two
winnable
things
games
that matter.
Yeah, you're right.
Probably
There's only
lose.
two things that matter.
You're right.
Does he feel like he can play? And can he do further damage to it by playing? Those are the only two things.
Those are 1 and 2. They're 1 and 1A, really.
Well,
Yeah.
He was medically cleared.
But that's 1. 1A was, does he feel like he can throw?
Can he produce what he needs to do? Once again.
And you know what? I give Deshaun a lot of credit. I know some people are like, oh, come on, toughen up. Baker played hurt.
Oh, no.
What Baker did was dumb.
He
What
sure
Baker did was dumb. And you know what
blew the
disappointed me
money.
more than that? There wasn't an adult in the room to stop him from doing it.
He should have said.
They kept putting him out there, even when he said,
there.
I've had to change my throwing motion. Okay, you're done. Sit down. Sit down. We've got the highest paid backup in the NFL.
And he hurt the team.
Blew the
He
money.
killed the team. But here's the most disappointing part about all that. What do players want to do?
Play.
Okay, I blame the general manager, the coach, the head coach, because there's got to be an adult in the room. I've seen guys that are noticeably limping, saying, I'm good. No, you're not.
I did it.
Let me be the parent
It
here.
depends on the
Take
position.
a seat.
It depends on the position you
Well,
play,
I'm
too.
good.
Yeah.
What
When you
talking about?
throw the football and you have an upper body injury, I don't care what it is. I mean, if it's an upper body injury, you're using all of your upper body and your torso to throw the ball.
Well, Dallas, I was trying to get back in. I pulled my hamstring in my final preseason game, and Dallas told me I couldn't go back in. I was like, listen, dude, I could go. If we just run zone, I can't play man, but if we run zone, I could get.
Yeah, but
now
he
they're
looked at me and said,
you're not
no, you
going
ain't going
Right.
back.
And by the way, Titus, that was the right answer.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
It was the last spring. You know how it is. You on the fence. You either go get cut or you either go make or break yourself. Right. I got to go out there at least, Hey,
look, this is, and by the way, this is their worst nightmare. This is Stefanski's worst.
Yeah, because his job on the line.
Chubb and Watson.
And Barry, he's looking crazy because you got one of the most inexperienced guys backing you up. When just last year with Baker, you had the most expensive backup quarterback. Well, okay.
Yeah.
You had one of the most expensive backups, right?
2 years ago.
Case Keenum was the highest paid backup.
And Jacoby Brissett.
Really?
Yeah. Now, last year, Brissett wasn't the highest paid backup.
No, last year you had Brissett.
But
2 years ago, you had Case Keenum. And they still said, watching Baker, we all watched him. He was clearly flawed. The team put him out there. Now, he had a reason to want to go out there. He had no contract. Guess what Deshaun Watson's saying right now when he goes home tonight?
That
I ain't
check,
playing.
my check.
Why would I play?
It
Well, they
clear on
have
Friday. What
experience
you
back.
mean, man?
PJ Walker has experience.
My thing was.
He has more.
You're right.
He had coming into this
He gonna
year,
get
by the
that
way.
do not
he had more
reply.
experience than Josh
Let me
Dobbs.
ask you that. Let's take it to that.
Hindsight is 2020.
Who you start?
Josh Dobbs or PJ Walker?
Right.
Who am I starting?
But so
You had Josh Dobbs
Well,
here.
coming into this year, PJ Walker had more experience than Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs a better player though.
Is he?
well, let me
How
ask
do I
you this,
know?
guys.
He's
Let me ask you
starting.
this.
I'm about to say he doing
If
the thing.
PJ Walker was starting last year,
Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs shouldn't be a starting quarterback. You know that.
Did you see him play against the Cardinals?
Did you see him against Dallas?
Did you see him against Dallas?
He is the card.
I mean, 49ers.
He has not played that well, G. I'm telling you, I've watched a lot of their games.
He's better than DTR.
Let me ask this.
But how come nobody said that when they
It
traded?
Watson
doesn't
can't
matter
play-
if nobody said it. It's reality.
If Watson can't play, who are you starting? Do you go to Walker?
I mean, I suggested it last week, and you guys all didn't even consider
Nick
it.
Foles?
No.
I said Nick Foles. I said
What did
Carson
you
Wentz.
say?
I said, should we talk about PJ Walker potentially starting? You guys were like, no,
Well, that was before
I want to
the
see
game.
DTR.
That was before the game when we all kind of realized he looked pretty good.
no, DTR. Because finally next year, I'm going to get all of you guys to admit that, or you're going to con yourselves into believing preseason matters.
Let
next
somebody
year.
ball out.
Yeah, hey, all he's got to do is see 3 or 4 catches.
Where's he at?
Austin Watkins would be second in
hell,
receiving if he
We
was
anointed
playing.
Elijah Moore from practice.
Hey, listen,
my
that's the
God.
beat reporter's fault.
Not me.
Go ahead,
That was them
McNuggets.
G14 classified information. Elijah Moore is lighting it up.
We got to get some super chats in real quick in our final fast read.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
Mary
night,
Kay.
Behind the
Got
Glass,
us.
myself, Anthony, and Earl talking
Got
Browns
us.
and everything else. Last week's episode was a hit. We're going to try running it back. Some more behind-the-scenes content that you guys can't find anywhere else.
Make sure you
but
retweet it, Bull.
Behind the Glass. Make sure you retweet it. Bull showed up last week, and it was a lot of fun. We got a couple super chats to read here before we wrap up for the day. The first of our super chats, I'm going to save Skillies for last. That's a question. The first one comes from Jordan Tarman. Are you guys going to be at the November 5th tailgate? Potentially, it's a little far out, but there's
We
a good
only.
chance.
So we were planning again to go this weekend, but Mike
You want a drink? You turpentine.
Mike told us that he wants to go on a different day because he wants to go by himself this week. I don't know why he's blowing us off. He's going to the tailgate without us.
Hey, listen. Here's what I'm
not-
gonna
I don't
do.
know.
I would love to go to
McNuggets is looking at me saying change the subject right now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something else.
Well, so we're gonna go. We had some scheduling conflicts.
It's
So we're
up
gonna go
to
another
Mr.
time.
Whatever McNuggets
What
wanna
time?
go.
What time is the tailgate at?
6 a.m.
No.
Yeah, it starts at 6
all right.
a.m.
What time do y'all get out there?
We got to be
I
there
don't
early.
know.
We'll be
I
back
get out
home.
there
What time
about
you been
9.
going, Mike?
Between 8:30 and 9.
So we're gonna go between
See,
8:30 and 9.
and I think I get on the radio at 11.
There you go. Then go for 2 hours.
Nobody's listening to that anyway.
Blow off the Browns.
That's one of his
pregame
9 jobs,
show.
Bull. You
Gibbs.
can't just quit that.
Gibbs, I would never do that.
Gibbs, Tyvus, his throat hurt.
Gibbs, I would
Paul,
never.
And we got
blow it
3 more
off.
real quick. Mary Kay said Deshaun
That's
was from M.
wild.
Bynes. Mary Kay said Deshaun practiced inside yesterday, so he did practice. So we're making a bigger deal of this than we should be.
I ain't never
Why?
seen an inside practice
Yeah.
in my life.
That
Come
doesn't
on,
What
count.
does that mean?
Yeah, that doesn't
If
count.
it's nothing to worry about, he should be outside.
Why he ain't outside?
The fact that he did not
my
practice
God.
so the media can see it tells
Hey.
you that something's wrong.
Jay, have you ever heard of a made-up indoor practice only in Cleveland? He was inside doing stuff. I swear he was.
And you should have seen the way Elijah Moore was catching the ball.
Oh my gosh, he was crossing routes, flea flickers, everything.
All right, 2 more. Next one from Jeffrey Anderson. Hey, Bull, drop the Bengals BS. You're a Browns fan through and through. Just admit it to yourself. Everything's going to be okay, bud. And Skilly
funny.
said, if this year goes to hell and we need a new general manager, how likely would it be that we would be able to garner a top-tier candidate considering, one,
I'm
a
sorry.
bad reputation of the franchise, and 2, they have to overcome cap.
Browns.
Also, G, check your email. I sent you an email Friday.
We can't do that. We can't do that.
No
man.
top tier candidates coming here, unfortunately.
It's a
Now, top tier candidates are often not good candidates, so maybe you'll get lucky.
Bull. Did you know it's a big event happening tonight?
What's happening?
The Cavs are playing the Hawks
Oh,
tonight.
and Monty Bates is he playing tonight?
Cavs
and
and
Hawks
Hawks
and Monty
tonight.
Bates. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
my
Yes, sir. Imani Bates going for 50. Let's roll.
And if he does, you know what Bull will say tomorrow? I don't want to hear about it. And I'm with you. I don't want to hear about it either.
Gee, we're
I've
talking
just
about it
been
tomorrow.
proven right yet again that preseason doesn't matter.
Hey.
And the only thing more meaningless
Shake my
than,
hand, Bull.
than the NFL,
NFL preseason is the NBA preseason.
Cavs and Hawks.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
wait, the Cavs proved one thing last year. Not only is the preseason irrelevant,
The regular season.
regular season
I
means
think we
nothing.
should, Jay. I think we should call the preseason the pre-preseason.
That's a good
And then
idea. And then call the regular
should be
season the preseason.
Cavs
Yeah.
and Hawks,
That's the way they
7:30.
need to look at it.
7:30, the Hawks favorite, 1.5.
Amani Bates is going to go 9 for 26. He's going to have 0 assists.
Yeah.
That's
He's going
probably
to score
true.
22 points. And these guys are going to come in tomorrow with Amani Bates shirts on.
Listen, what you mean?
Listen, the DTR train has sailed. We back on Imani Bates.
Listen,
the biggest.
we won for we won for 2. You know what I'm saying? We got DeJuan Jones. Let's not act like we didn't get that one. But DTR, listen, it's ready to go, man. Basketball season.
Imani Bates.
Wow, Mike, what was that terrible trade involving DTR that people didn't want to do in the
Sauce
preseason?
DeJuan.
Oh, they wouldn't trade DTR for Sauce Gardner.
That's absurd. that was
Who
absurd.
proposed that, Earl?
Nick Carnes. So we like Nick. We like Nick.
Shout
Oh,
out to
okay.
Nick
I thought
Carnes.
I thought that might have been an Earl proposal.
Nick
No,
Carnes.
but do you think the
I
Rams
need
will still
cocky.
take DPJ in a
By the
first?
way,
Come on, Jay.
I know, Earl. I apologize,
I
bro.
need cocky Nick Carnes back again. As obnoxious as it is, I need it back. Let's go.